Chapter 1422. The Dark Emperor appears. A great battle broke out. Outside Giant Shield City, a fierce battle broke out between Dao Master Jimo and Shu Cheng. Dao Master Jimo could have killed Shu Cheng, but he didn't. He was stalling for time. Because once Shu Cheng was killed, he would have to face Tuor He. Tuor He couldn't be compared to Shu Cheng. Killing him was harder than ascending to the heavens. Drip. Time passed. With every passing second, Shu Cheng's injuries worsened. However, Shu Cheng was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. On the other side of the battlefield, 3 late 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from Giant Shield City were fighting against 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from 100 Flowers City. The 3 late 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from Giant Shield City were clearly at a disadvantage. However, it wasn't possible for the late 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from 100 Flowers City to win in a short time. The scene became a little strange. Both battlefields seemed to be calm and peaceful. Gradually, the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from 100 Flowers City realized that something was wrong. They wanted to force the cultivators from Giant Shield City to retreat and help Shu Cheng. However, the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from 100 Flowers City were fighting with the mentality of certain death. How could they escape so easily? But under Dao Master Jimo's powerful attacks, Shu Cheng kept vomiting blood and his body was on the verge of collapse. On the other hand, although Dao Master Jimo was also injured, they were all superficial wounds. Senior Tuor, please help Elder Shu. When a 5th grade Earth Sovereign of the 100 Flowers City saw Shu Cheng's miserable state, he braced himself and took a step forth. This 5th grade Earth Sovereign was Tuor, his disciple. He had offended many people in 100 Flowers City. If Shu Cheng was killed, he would definitely be finished. You want me to help that trash? Tuor He turned around and looked at Shu Cheng's disciple. Give me a reason. My master is the City Lord of 100 Flowers City and the main force of the attack on Giant Shield City. Also, the Great Master thinks highly of him. If he... Shu Cheng's disciple said. Slap. Before Shu Cheng's disciple could finish his words, his face turned red as a palm imprint appeared on it. The Great Master thinks highly of Shu Cheng? Why didn't I know? Tuor He said coldly, remember this, all of you are our dogs. Whatever we tell you to do, you have to do. Everyone lowered their heads upon hearing Tuor He's words. What's your name? Tuor He looked at Shu Cheng's disciple and asked. Li Xiu. Shu Cheng's disciple said honestly. A grown man actually has this kind of name. Dai. Tuor He's eyes suddenly turned cold. His right hand pointed at the void, and in an instant, the void exploded. Xiu. Soon after, a cold light struck Li Xiu's head. Why we can't kill me? Li Xiu's expression changed drastically and she hurriedly said. Whoosh. Even though Li Xiu screamed, she couldn't escape the fate of being killed. The cold light pierced through his forehead and killed him on the spot. Li Xiu. Originally, Shu Cheng was wholeheartedly fighting against Spiritual Master Jimo, but Spiritual Master Jimo just so happened to strike his chest, causing his body to slightly dodge. This flash directly allowed him to see Li Xiu's miserable state. Li Xiu was his last disciple and had cultivated to the 5th grade Earth Supreme Realm at such a young age. Even in the Pill Formation continent, he was an absolute genius. Such a genius martial artist was actually killed by Tuor He so casually. You dare to be distracted while fighting me? That's not good. How could Spiritual Master Jimo let go of such a good opportunity? He clenched his right hand into a fist and suddenly punched out. Not good. Shu Cheng was greatly alarmed and tried to block in a fluster. Crack. Alas, it was obviously too late for Shu Cheng to block it now. His chest was struck by Spiritual Master Jimo and he was directly sent flying. Go. Spiritual Master Jimo swung the silver-white flying sword and chased after Shu Cheng. Kai. The silver-white flying sword rubbed against the void, emitting a hissing sound and arriving in front of Shu Cheng in the blink of an eye. Under Shu Cheng's horrified gaze, the silver-white flying sword stabbed into his heart. Fart. Shu Cheng spat out a large mouthful of blood, but he did not die on the spot. Instead, he glanced at Tuor He, wanting him to save him. In our eyes, you're no different from a dog. Tuor He's reply to Shu Cheng was a mocking voice. Pu. Shu Cheng's eyes rolled back as the flames of adversity attacked his heart, and he died on the spot. Slap. Slap. All right, I've played enough. Return to the Flower Palace with me now, and I'll spare your life. Tuor he patted his hands together and walked slowly towards Spiritual Master Jimo. Otherwise, you might die here. Who? Suddenly, Tuor his expression changed, and he clenched his right hand into a fist and suddenly smashed it towards the space beside him. Swoosh. Swoosh. Tuor his punch directly forced out two figures. A human and dog combination? Tuor he was slightly stunned when he saw the two figures that had suddenly appeared, and then he said, the dog is a grade 5 human exalt, and the human is a grade 9 human exalt. They're comparatively weaker. The appearance of these two figures didn't just stun Tuor he, even Spiritual Master Jimo was slightly stunned. Don't you think you and your dog are too weird? It's fine if you're strong, but the crux is that both of you are extremely weak and aren't even at the Earth Exalt realm. Is your appearance any different from courting death? We're finished. Our positioning failed. Both the human and dog were slightly stunned when they sensed the terrifying figures in the surroundings. That's right, the human and dog were the Dark Emperor and Zhon Ba. Ever since they parted ways with Ning Yu, the two of them had finally arrived at the Thousand Leaves Empire after going through a lot of hardships. In the Thousand Leaves Empire, they found many treasures of heaven and earth, and everyone's strength improved. The Dark Emperor advanced from grade 4 human exalt to grade 5 human exalt, and Zhon Ba advanced to grade 9 human exalt. Originally, they thought that they could help Ning Yu after advancing, so they found a broken formation and teleported to the 100 Flowers Palace's territory. The Dark Emperor knew very well that Ning Yu would definitely head to the 100 Flowers Palace, which was why they came here. Who would have thought that they would encounter a huge battle as soon as they arrived? Misfortune really never came alone. Sorry, please continue. We didn't mean to disturb you. Zhon Ba revealed an apologetic expression and said, may I ask if this is Giant Shield City? That's right, this is Giant Shield City. Tuor he was rather interested in this human and dog. I'm a Sky Supreme. Aren't you guys afraid of seeing me? Since that was the case, Tuor he decided to have some fun with this human and dog. Sorry to disturb you. Our destination is Giant Shield City. Zhon Ba apologized again. After that, Zhon Ba and the Dark Emperor calmly walked toward Giant Shield City. The actions of the two of them made everyone a little confused. They were heading toward Giant Shield City just like that. The people of Giant Shield City were confused. They didn't know if they should open the city gates. The people of 100 Flowers City were confused because they felt that the other party was pretending to be weak. Even Tuor he was a little confused. Are they really pretending to be weak? Chapter 1423. Chapter 1423. Chapter 1423. The mantis stalks the cicada U3, test them out for me. After some thought, Tuor he decided to test the Dark Emperor and Zhon Ba. However, he wasn't the one testing it, but the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. He didn't want any unforeseen events to occur. If the Dark Emperor and Zhon Ba were really pretending to be pigs to eat tigers, wouldn't he be finished if he acted rashly? Keeping an eye on everything was better than anything else. Yes. Although the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns were brooding over Shu Cheng's death, they didn't dare to disobey Tuor his orders. The 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns charged towards the Dark Emperor and Zhon Ba. What Tuor he said was a probe, but the 3 of them did not treat it as a simple probe. Their attacks were exceptionally powerful. Almost everyone used their trump cards. Even a lion would use its full strength to catch a rabbit, let alone them. Seeing the Dark Emperor and Zhon Ba being besieged by the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flowers City, the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City shifted their gazes towards Jimo, seeking his opinion. Help me. Master Jimo nodded slightly. That black dog is very similar to the Dark Emperor Palace Lord spoke of. Since he couldn't figure out Zhon Ba and the Dark Emperor's identities, he chose to help them. After all, the Palace Lord had said that Ning Yu had a powerful black dog with him. It was obvious that Master Devil had taken Zhon Ba to Ning Yu on the spot. No problem. The 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from the Giant Shield City had long wanted to make a move. They didn't know about Ningyu and the Dark Emperor, but they knew very well that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Since the 100 Flowers City wanted to kill this man and dog, they had to protect them unconditionally. You're courting death. For some reason, when the 3 ninth grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City made a move, the 3 ninth grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flowers City revealed expressions of relief. They immediately turned around and started fighting with the 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of Giant Shield City. Did we come at the wrong time? The Dark Emperor swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in a low voice. It is indeed not the right time. Jean-Ba nodded. However, I can sense that Ningyu should be nearby. The Dark Emperor said solemnly. Are you sure? Jean-Ba was surprised, asking hurriedly. I'm basically certain. The Dark Emperor said, think about it, if Ningyu wasn't around, how could the 3 ninth grade Earth Sovereigns help us? Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, Jean-Ba's face darkened. Is that what you meant by basically certain? What a bunch of nonsense. Let's just think of entering Giant Shield City as soon as possible. Jean-Ba's eyes turned as he thought of a countermeasure. No matter what, since the people of Giant Shield City had helped them, they couldn't disappoint them. Others had gone through untold hardships to help him, but in the end, he still messed around. Wouldn't that disappoint others? Buzz. What Jean-Ba did not know was that the Dark Emperor's deduction was right. In the void not far away from them, 3 figures stood side by side. Senior Yunshi, how confident are you that you can defeat that Heavenly Supreme? Ningyu asked after his gaze lingered on Tuo He and Tao Master Harmony Demon for a brief moment. In terms of strength, I'm not that Heavenly Supreme's match, but I have the 100 Flowers fan. Fairy Yunshi said, if I join forces with Tao Master Harmony Devil, we can even kill that Heavenly Supreme. Are you sure you can kill that Heavenly Supreme? Ningyu was surprised. That was a Heavenly Supreme. In his previous life, he was only a Heavenly Supreme. If it wasn't for the fact that he was extremely weak from refining pills, how could he have been surrounded and killed by 9 ninth grade Earth Sovereigns? Even so, there were still a few 9th grade Earth Sovereigns who were injured. Ningyu could sense that the Heavenly Supreme in the distance was only slightly weaker than him in his previous life. If I ambush him, I have a 50% chance of heavily injuring him. Fairy Yun, she said solemnly, as long as I can heavily injure him, then it's not impossible to join forces with Venerable Chaos Devil to kill him. That's right. Ningyu was stunned for a moment before he came to a sudden realization. They were hidden in the void, and the Heavenly Supreme outside hadn't discovered them. Thinking of this, Ningyu couldn't help taking another look at the 100 Flowers fan. The 100 Flowers fan was indeed extraordinary to be able to hide from even a Heavenly Supreme. If he encountered such a treasure again in the future, he had to be careful. That man and dog, are they your friends? Yunshi pointed at the Dark Emperor and Jean-Ba. That's right. The dog is called the Dark Emperor, and the man is called Jean-Ba. Ningyu nodded. They once went through fire and water with me. Speaking of which, I have to thank you for helping them. You don't have to thank me. It wasn't my intention. Yunshi shook her head. It wasn't your intention? Ningyu was stunned. In Ningyu's view, the reason why the 3 ninth grade Earth Sovereigns of Giant Shield City acted was because Yunshi had sent a voice transmission. At first, Ningyu was a little puzzled as to why Yunshi's voice transmission didn't have any spatial fluctuations. Now that he thought about it, it wasn't Yunshi's intention. Someone in Giant Shield City knows the Dark Emperor. I know. All of a sudden, Ningyu slapped his thigh and said, Lu Xuan must have arrived at the Giant Shield City. Hiss. Ningyu's strength was so great that Kwang Zhon sucked in a breath of cold air. I'm sorry. Ningyu immediately apologized. It was true that he slapped his thigh, but it was Kwang Zhon's thigh. When are we going out? After apologizing, Ningyu asked Fairy Yunshi, Palatial Lord Centaurea and the rest should have found the demon echo grass in Giant Shield City. We need to refine the soul attraction pill as soon as possible so that Palatial Lord Centaurea can cultivate the soul attraction art as soon as possible. There's no hurry. Let me contact Tao Master Demon first. We must give that Heavenly Supreme a fatal blow. Yunshi waved her hand. If you want to enter Giant Shield City, I can send you in first. Don't. I want to see your fight with that heavenly supreme. Not knowing why, Ningyu felt a little uneasy. It was a feeling that came from his intuition. That also meant that Ningyu felt that the heavenly supreme might have discovered something and had his guard up. Guangzhon, how confident are you if you fight with that heavenly supreme? Ningyu did not tell Yunxi about his feeling, since he knew that even if he did, Yunxi wouldn't believe him. Since that's the case, why not contact Guangzhon first? Hearing Ningyu's voice transmission, Guangzhon was briefly stunned before he replied, I'm only a 9th grade Earth Sovereign. I should be able to withstand one move from that heavenly supreme. Only one move? Ningyu slightly knitted his brows as he muttered, one move is fine too. If necessary, you can block one move from that heavenly supreme. No problem. Although he had many doubts in his heart, Guangzhon did not ask about it. Chapter 1424. Finally attack. What should we do now? Looking at the 6 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns, Jean Ba had a grave expression on his face. Judging from the situation, the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City were at an absolute disadvantage. He could predict that if the battle continued, the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City might fall here. Jean Ba felt a little apologetic in his heart. After all, the other party was doing it for them. Don't be anxious. I can sense that Ningyu is nearby. The Dark Emperor remained calm, because he'd really sensed a wisp of information from Ningyu just now. However, that message was extremely weak, and even he could only sense a tiny bit of it. Thinking about it, it made sense. With a heavenly sovereign eyeing them, Ningyu wouldn't dare to send a message with his cultivation at the mortal sovereign realm. Reliable? Jean Ba doubted the Dark Emperor's words. Due to his previous experience, Jean Ba didn't believe the Dark Emperor's words. Of course I'm reliable. When have I, the Dark Emperor, ever been wrong? The Dark Emperor's face was a little unsightly. Jean Ba actually doubted him, which was an insult to him. Who couldn't bear it? If it wasn't for his good relationship with Jean Ba, the Dark Emperor might even, alright, I can't lie anymore. Anyway, you just have to believe me. Don't bother about anything else. The Dark Emperor shifted his gaze towards the battlefield. Seeing the Dark Emperor's actions, Jean Ba became even more uncertain. Also, even if Ningyu was nearby, what was the use? The other party had a heavenly sovereign, and no matter how powerful Ningyu was, could he confront a heavenly sovereign? The answer was clearly no. I can only deal with it as it comes. Jean Ba took a deep breath and muttered. Rumble. On the battlefield, the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City were losing. It was so much so that one of the late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City was nearly killed. Even though he had used a secret technique to escape the calamity, he had also suffered heavy injuries and was unable to display his peak battle prowess. After losing one of their main forces, the other 2 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of Giant Shield City couldn't hold on any longer and were swiftly defeated. If the battle continued, the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City would be killed in 3 minutes. Do you really not have any trump cards? Tuor, his eyes were fixed on the battlefield, his brows tightly furrowed as he concentrated. The reason Tuor he didn't make a move at the first possible moment was because he felt that the other party had set up an ambush. There was definitely something fishy going on when something was out of the ordinary. He was a bona fide Sky Supreme, and with him overseeing things here, Daoist Master Ji Mo seemed to have nothing to fear. Let's wait a little longer. After some thought, Tuor he decided to wait a little longer. Once the battle in the distance was over, he would attack Daoist Master Ji Mo. Puff, puff, puff. 3 minutes passed quickly. The result was within everyone's expectations. The 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City were forced to retreat, with each of them spewing a mouthful of blood. Retreat. The 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City were smart. Their mission was to stall for a few minutes and buy time for the man and dog. Now that the man and dog were safe, they themselves couldn't hold on any longer. There was no point in continuing the battle at this point. Therefore, They immediately used their secret techniques and even burned their lives to use the blood shield technique to escape to Daoist Master Jimo's side. The three late-phase 9th grade Earth sovereigns of Hundred Flowers City floated side by side in the air, looking back at Tuorhi, unsure if they should chase after him. Come back. Tuorhi waved his hand and said, leave the rest to me. Buzz. Buzz. As his voice fell, Tuorhi tore through the void with both hands and dove in. Crack. The void shattered, and in the next instant, Tuorhi appeared in front of Daoist Master Jimo. His right hand clenched into a fist and fiercely punched at Daoist Master Jimo's head. Although Tuorhi had transformed into a human, the power of his punch was still very powerful. Kai. Kai. Seeing the fist approaching him, Daoist Master Jimo didn't dare to be careless. He hurriedly gathered all his yuan qi on his wrist and punched out. His fist brought with it a violent gale that collided with Tuorhi's fist. Crack. The two fists collided, and a crisp sound rang out. Subsequently, Daoist Master Jimo was sent flying and only stopped when he reached the edge of Giant Shield City's walls. This move put Daoist Master Jimo at a complete disadvantage. Is that all you've got? Tuorhi curled his lips and said in disdain, if I revert to my original form, killing you would be as easy as blowing off dust. Daoist Master Jimo didn't say anything. He just wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and his expression turned extremely grave. Daoist Master Jimo knew very well that Tuorhi was right. Tuorhi could easily kill him if he reverted to his original form as a rock. Of course, all of this was built on the premise that Daoist Master Jimo didn't use his suicidal trump card. Once Daoist Master Jimo used his suicidal trump card, Tuorhi might not be able to win for sure. Forget it, I was planning to bring you back for research. But now, it seems like there's no need for that anymore. I'll just kill you first. As he spoke, Tuorhi charged forth once more. Screech. This time, Tuorhi did not hold back, and he used his most powerful move. Rock spread wings. After reverting to his original form, Tuorhi flapped his wings rapidly and a violent gale blasted towards Daoist Master Jimo. As for Tuorhi himself, he turned into a sharp sword that charged out of the void and attacked Daoist Master Jimo's head. Blood sacrifice. At that critical moment, Daoist Master Jimo forced out dozens of drops of blood and released his most terrifying trump card. Crack, crack, crack. The moment the blood sacrifice was released, Daoist Master Jimo's bones let out cracking sounds. In the blink of an eye, Daoist Master Jimo's aura started rising. The blood sacrifice technique was extremely terrifying to begin with. However, the blood sacrifice technique that Daoist Master Jimo released was slightly different. Although it was still a consumption of his own essence blood, Daoist Master Jimo's consumption was extremely frightening. Every second, Daoist Master Jimo's life would be greatly threatened. Bang! The greater the danger, the greater the benefits. In a short period of time, Daoist Master Jimo's aura rose from peak 9th grade Earth Supreme to half-step Heavenly Supreme. However, Daoist Master Jimo's aura was still rising at a terrifying speed. Bang! Not long after, another muffled sound came from Daoist Master Jimo's sea of consciousness. Heavenly Supreme. At that moment, Daoist Master Jimo's aura had reached the terrifying Heavenly Supreme realm. Although Daoist Master Jimo's aura had only increased to the Heavenly Supreme realm and could only last for 5 minutes, it was already not easy for him. Unless he encountered a true Heavenly Supreme, Daoist Master Jimo could be said to be invincible below the Heavenly Supreme realm. Your blood sacrifice technique is a little interesting. Tuorhi's expression turned solemn. After using the blood sacrifice technique, Daoist Master Jimo's strength was already close to his own. Chapter 1425. Unleash a killing move. The interesting part is yet to come. Daoist Master Jimo's eyes shone with a frightening light. He clenched his right fist and punched at Tuorhi. Whoosh! However, Tuorhi, who had transformed into his true form, was extremely fast. Even though Reverend Jimo flew with all his might, he still couldn't get close to Tuorhi. Whoosh! 1 minute passed. Not only did Daoist Master Jimo fail to hit Tuorhi, but even his clothes were torn by Tuorhi's sharp claws. We can't go on like this. While pursuing Tuor He, Daoist Master Ji-mo was secretly thinking of a countermeasure. His blood sacrifice art could only last for 5 minutes. 1 minute had already passed. If he couldn't heavily injure Tuor He in the remaining 4 minutes, the consequences would be unimaginable. Eat my fist. With a cold glint in his eyes, Reverend Ji-mo attacked once more, attacking with all his might. Insignificant skill. The corner of Tuor He's mouth curled up as he easily dodged Dao Master Shunmo's attack. Eat my foot again, Daoist Master Hung Mo shouted and punched out again. Bang! This time, Daoist Master Ji-mo's fist landed on Tuor He's wing and sent him flying. You dare to cheat? Tuor He shouted. All is fair in war. Perfected Devil sneered and said again, eat my fists. While he was speaking of fists, Reverend Ji-mo was actually moving his right leg. Take my claw. Tuor He was infuriated. He immediately flapped his wings and a strong gust of wind swept out, blasting towards Dao Master Ji-mo's head. Whoosh! Daoist Master Ji-mo's figure flashed to the side, barely dodging Tuor He's attack. You've become smarter. Perfected Fiend sneered. Same here. Tuor He replied coldly. In the void, Ningyu was a little stunned when he saw the fight between Tuor He and Perfected Devil. Both of you are peak-level experts, yet you are fighting like children. Senior Yun Shi, when will you make your move? Ningyu knew that Perfected Devil wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer, so he turned around and asked. On the surface, Daoist Master Ji-mo and Tuor He seemed to be equally matched, and he wasn't at an absolute disadvantage. However, Ningyu knew very well that Daoist Master Ji-mo would not be able to hold on for much longer. The blood sacrifice technique he used had a huge impact on his body. It was said that it could last for 5 minutes, but that was not the case. With the rate at which Kai Mo was consuming his blood essence, he would probably be unable to hold on for another 2 minutes. Wait a little longer. I'm looking for an opportunity. Fairy Yun Shi's expression was grave. She clenched the 100-flower fan in her hand and said, when I attack later, immediately hide in Giant Shield City. No problem. On the surface, Ningyu agreed to Fairy Yun Shi's request, but in reality, he sent a voice transmission to Berserk Warrior, listen to my command and prepare to attack at any time. Understood. Kwang Zhon nodded. Drip. Time was slipping away. In the blink of an eye, another minute passed. Poochie. In this 1 minute, Daoist Master Ji-mo punched Tuor He twice and kicked him once. He even beat Tuor He until he coughed up blood. Perfected Devil himself was punched thrice and kicked twice by Tuor He, causing his expression to turn a little ugly. Attack. In the next second, Fairy Yun Shi gripped her 100-flower fan and charged forward. Not good. As soon as Fairy Yun Shi rushed out, Tuor He sensed that something was wrong, discovering some clues. However, Tuor He didn't notice Fairy Yun Shi, but Ningyu. Who's sneakily hiding in the void? Come out. After forcing Daoist Master Ji-mo back with a move, Tuor He threw a punch at the void where Ningyu was. Swish. In that moment of crisis, Kwang Zhon quickly dodged with Ningyu. Fortunately, Kwang Zhon was a 9th-grade Earth Supreme. Otherwise, Tuor He's punch alone would be enough to send Ningyu to hell. This is my chance. Seeing that Tuor He was distracted, Fairy Yun Shi suddenly tore through the void and appeared beside him. Not good. Tuor He was indeed a heavenly supreme expert. The moment Fairy Yun Shi appeared from the void with the 100-flower fan in hand, he already sensed that something was amiss. With no time to think, Tuor He immediately retreated. Fairy Yun Shi wasn't scary. What was scary was the 100-flower fan in her hand. As a heavenly supreme, Tuor He had seen his fair share of treasures. He had heard of treasures like the 100-flower fan, but he had never seen one before. Now that he saw the 100-flower fan, he immediately retreated. Go. Fairy Yun Shi had endured for so long, waiting for this moment. She activated the 100-flower fan and a cold light shot out at Tuor He. Bang! The cold light was so fast that Tuor He couldn't even react before he was struck in the chest. Great torrent fizz. When he saw Fairy Yun Shi attack, Daoist Ji-mo forcefully endured the pain that came from his entire body and punched out as well. Tuor he was sent flying by the cold light and Daoist Master Jimo's fist. His aura became extremely weak. Fut, fut, fut. Tuor his face turned extremely ugly as he spat out several mouthfuls of blood. He was a heavenly supreme, yet he was sneak attacked by a peak 9th grade Earth Supreme. Although the other party had a treasure like the 100-flower fan, he had to take revenge. You've completely angered me. I'll let you know what a true heavenly supreme expert is. Tuor his eyes turned cold as he yelled, "Go, flatten giant shield city." Whoosh. As Tuor he spoke, the army behind him suddenly moved and attacked Giant Shield City without any regard for their lives. Creak. The gates of Giant Shield City slowly opened, and the army rushed out at this moment. Kill. Protect Giant Shield City with our lives. Kill these traitors and reclaim the 100 Flowers Palace. Kill. 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 Protect our homeland and kill the traitors. Seeing Fairy Yun Shi appear and fight Tuor he with Daoist Master Jimo, the cultivators of Giant Shield City roared with vigor. On the 100 Flowers City's side, due to Shu Cheng's death and his disciples' death, their morale was very weak. In a battle between armies, vigor was of utmost importance. Although the 100 Flowers City's army had an absolute advantage in terms of numbers and cultivation. However, they weren't able to obtain an overwhelming advantage in the battle. On the other hand, the Giant Shield City's side grew braver as they fought and killed dozens of 100 Flowers City's cultivators. Screech. In midair, Tuor he raised his head and let out a cry before flapping his wings and attacking Daoist Master Jimo. Relatively speaking, Daoist Master Jimo was easier to deal with. On one hand, Daoist Master Jimo's blood sacrifice art was almost up. On the other hand, Daoist Master Jimo did not have a secret treasure like the 100 Flowers fan. Rumble. The battle continued. Because Tuor his main target was Daoist Master Jimo, he was forced to retreat repeatedly and his body was on the verge of collapse. Although Fairy Yun Shi was also attacking continuously, she seemed to be preparing for something and was not using her full strength. Fairy Yun Shi, who was not using her full strength, could only display limited combat strength. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. With a cold gaze, Tuor he swiped at Daoist Master Jimo's heart with his sharp claws. Poof! After a period of intense battle, Daoist Master Jimo could no longer hold on. The remaining time of the blood sacrifice art was not enough for him to defend against this move. Am I really going to die here today? Daoist Master Jimo's eyes dimmed slightly. He had already discussed with Fairy Yun Shi that he would be the main attacker while she would prepare her killing move. Chapter 1426. Chapter 1426. Chapter 1426. Success Berserker, get ready. In the void, Ningyu had been paying attention to the battle between Tuor he and Daoist Jimo. Just as Master Jimo was about to be hit, he suddenly appeared out of thin air. Wielding the red demon sword, he slashed out dozens of sword beams. Voila! Each of the sword beams was extremely powerful, and all of them crashed toward Tuor he. Ningyu! It's Ningyu! The moment Ningyu appeared, the Dark Emperor and Zhong Ba were overjoyed. Ever since they parted ways with Ningyu, they had been worried about Ningyu. After all, the three-legged golden crow and the black-clothed cultivator were both Earth Supremes. Although the Dark Emperor had said that he had sensed Ningyu's aura just now, but now that he saw Ningyu's real person, he was still excited. Die. Tuor he had already noticed Ningyu. He flapped his wings and a cold light shot towards Ningyu. Kai Kai. The dozens of sword lights failed to block the cold light that Tuor he had unleashed, and they were all destroyed like withered twigs. Block. Ningyu's eyes turned solemn when he saw that the cold light was about to reach him. The 10,000 bone flame in his left hand and the 10,000 beast flame in his right hand fused together and unleashed a terrifying flame attack. Under the impact of this flame, the power of Tuor his cold light was greatly reduced. Sapling. Law of space. Although the power of the cold light had weakened a lot, it was still very difficult for Ningyu to block it. At this critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly communicated with the sapling and the law of space. Catcher. The sapling and the law of space were already bound together with Ningyu. They would definitely not sit back and do nothing. Under their defense, The power of the cold light was greatly reduced. No, I still can't block it. Although Ning Yu had brought out his trump cards to withstand the cold radiance, he knew that he couldn't withstand it with his cultivation at the 8th grade sovereign realm. Ascension Pagoda. At the critical moment, Ning Yu hurriedly placed the shrunken tower of Yuzuan at his heart and rushed towards the cold light. What happened? What is that 8th grade middle human supreme realm trying to do? Has he lost his mind? Ning Yu's actions caused the cultivators from Giant Shield City and 100 Flowers City to be slightly stunned. To all he was a heavenly supreme, so no matter how weak the cold light he had displayed was, it wasn't something that an 8th grade intermediate human sovereign like you could withstand. Instead of retreating, he actually wanted to take it head-on. This was simply. However, just as everyone had this thought, their mouths were slightly agape, and their faces were filled with confusion. Ding! With a crisp sound, Ning Yu's body flew out and heavily hit the ground. It was true that he had slammed into the ground, but Ning Yu simply stood up, dusted off his butt, and smiled at Tuor He. Is that all a heavenly supreme can do? He's no different from a weakling. I'll take your life later. The fact that Ning Yu was able to block the cold light that he unleashed really surprised Tuor He. However, Tuor He's current target was Immortal Demon, and he wanted to kill him, not bicker with Ning Yu. The might of the cold light that he had executed was limited, and it wasn't even 1/10 of his peak strength. If he had used 2/10 of his strength, he believed that Ning Yu definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. Immortal Demon, die. Tuor He's sharp claws grabbed towards Immortal Demon's heart. That claw of his was extremely powerful. If Immortal Demon was unlucky enough to be caught, he would definitely die. Berserk battle. In a moment of desperation, Ning Yu yelled, "Quick, stop that fool, Heavenly Supreme." Ning Yu's roar didn't affect Tuor He. His sharp claws had already arrived at Immortal Demon's heart and ruthlessly clawed down. Crack. Suddenly, the space beside Immortal Demon suddenly split apart and a fist flew towards Tuor He's claws. A crisp sound resounded and Tuor He immediately flapped his wings and swiftly retreated. What? What's going on? Who's that beside Immortal Demon? The sudden change caused everyone to be shocked. Who was capable of breaking Tuor He's claws with a single punch? I know, this is all part of your plan. As he retreated, Tuor He yelled, first, he made a move to attract my attention. Then, he resisted my cold light to numb me. Finally, this 9th grade Earth Sovereign attacked me. What a good scheme, what a good scheme. It's that brat's scheme. That should be the case. Even Tuor He has said so. Is that brat really that powerful? Tuor He's words had caused everyone's opinion of Ning Yu to change. However, some were optimistic, while others weren't. In the Giant Shield City, some cultivators even held enmity for Ning Yu in their hearts. But that's all for later. Go. While Tuor He was retreating, Fairy Yun she had already completed her preparations. She shouted in a low voice and immediately activated the 100 Flowers fan. A cold light shot out. This cold light was extremely powerful, and it was several times stronger than the one that Tuor He had executed. A cold light that can kill a heavenly sovereign. Looking at the cold light that was constantly charging towards Tuor He, Ning Yu's face turned grave. Ning Yu could sense that if Tuor He was struck by that cold light, even if he didn't die, he would at least lose a layer of skin. Then again, the possibility of Tuor He losing a layer of skin was low. That's because there's a high chance that he would be killed by that cold light. I will remember you guys, and I will return 3 days from now. Tuor He was afraid. He left those words before he forcefully tore space apart and entered. Whoosh. However, the cold light seemed to have locked onto him. The moment he entered, the cold light had already entered. Ah. Not long after, a cry of agony like a pig being slaughtered came from the rift. Boom. Tuor He fell heavily to the ground and vomited a large mouthful of blood. His aura was extremely weak. Whoosh. Fairy Yun she hurriedly landed beside Tuor He after her attack succeeded. Kwang Zhon, Yi Mo, and Yong also landed beside Tuor He and surrounded him. What do you think you're doing? Tuor He was no longer as mighty as before. He coldly said, in order to defeat me, all of you have expended a great deal of energy. Once I recover, all of you will definitely be finished. Slap. Seeing that Tuor he still dared to be so arrogant, Ningyu raised his right foot and kicked him in the face. You still dare to be so stubborn even when death is at hand? Ningyu said, Senior Yun Shi, hand him over to me. I guarantee that he will listen to my scolding. I still have use for him. Fairy Yun Shi shook her head. Every time Giant Shield City's formation is opened, it consumes a vast amount of energy. It just so happens that he's a heavenly sovereign. If we use him to open Giant Shield City's formation, it can last for a month. Hearing Fairy Yun Shi's words, Ningyu's face darkened. You want to use a heavenly sovereign to open the formation? However, Tuor he had been defeated by Fairy Yun Shi, so it wasn't convenient for Ningyu to say anything. Fine. Nodding, Ningyu said, you handle it. Chapter 1427. Bai Chi. A treasure that can hold a person? Ningyu was stunned when he saw Tuor he being sucked in by the 100 Flowers fan. But after thinking about it, Ningyu understood. The 100 Flowers Palace was a force comparable to the Emperor Palace. It was natural for a treasure to be able to hold a person, so there was nothing to be surprised about. Retreat. Just when Ningyu was pondering, a late-phase 9th grade Earth sovereign from the 100 Flowers City yelled out. Xu Cheng was killed, and Tuor he, a heavenly supreme, was captured. What was the point of fighting? Retreating as soon as possible and returning to the 100 Flowers City to recuperate was the right thing to do. If Fairy Yun Shi and the rest disregarded their status and made a move, who knew how many of them would die? Now was the time to retreat as fast as they could while Fairy Yun Shi and the rest were careless. Rustle. When the late-phase 9th grade Earth sovereign yelled out, the 100 Flowers City's army retreated. There were even cases of trampling and several cultivators with low cultivations were trampled to death. Escaping was the most important thing, so who could care about that? You could stop, but the moment you did, the people behind you would rush up and trample you to death. Therefore, no one helped those cultivators who were trampled to death. The 100 Flowers City's cultivators attacked ferociously, but they also retreated quickly. After paying the price of dozens of people being trampled to death, the 100 Flowers City's cultivators finally retreated. Dust billowed as the 100 Flowers City's cultivators fled. Should we chase? Seeing the cultivators of the 100 Flowers City retreating, a 5th grade supreme martial artist from the Giant Shield City asked curiously. Clean up the battlefield. A 9th grade Earth sovereign from the Giant Shield City's army said, calculate our casualties and the enemy's casualties. I want to reward them according to their contributions. The 9th grade Earth sovereign was left to deal with the aftermath. As for Ningyu and the rest, they quietly entered the Giant Shield City. After entering Giant Shield City, they headed straight for the central hall of Giant Shield City. Because Lu Wei and the rest were there, the entire Giant Shield City was bustling. Some cultivators with low cultivations left the Giant Shield City to clean up the battlefield. After this battle, Giant Shield City had also suffered great losses. Dozens of martial artists had died. The family members of these martial artists had very cold expressions on their faces. There wasn't much sadness on their faces. It was as if they were already used to this kind of thing, but it was also as if they didn't feel sad at all. Recently, Giant Shield City has been attacked many times. Every time, many people die. Perhaps seeing the bewilderment in Ningyu's eyes, Daoist Master Ji Mo explained, everyone isn't numb. Rather, they've long harbored the resolve to die. Dao Master Ji Mo knew that Kwang Zhon had acted on Ningyu's orders, so he was very grateful to Ningyu. It could be said that without Mad Warrior and Ningyu, he would have died today. Looks like the situation is quite grim. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu muttered to himself. Before he came here, Ningyu had already guessed how chaotic the Flower Palace was. Who would have thought that the situation was worse than he had imagined? The forces of Giant Shield City and 100 Flowers City weren't on the same level. The reason why 100 Flowers City hadn't launched a large-scale attack was entirely because of Fairy Yun Shi. Fairy Yun Shi had a supreme treasure like the 100 Flowers fan in her hands. Otherwise, 100 Flowers City's high-end combat power would definitely be mobilized in full force. Swish. Before long, Ningyu and the others arrived in front of the most central building of Giant Shield City. Lu Wei and the others are indeed inside. As soon as they stopped, Ningyu sensed the auras of Lu Wei and the others. Lu Wei, revered spirit void, Dan Guzi, sword of evil, and so on. The martial artists who had parted with him at Transverse Canyon were all here. Ningyu, I knew you would be fine. Creak. The door was pushed open, and several figures quickly walked out. Among them, a martial artist quickly walked in front of Ningyu, punched Ningyu's chest, and directly gave him a bear hug. The Sword of Evil. This martial artist was none other than the Sword of Evil. Good fella, you've actually advanced to the mid-8th grade Human Supreme? Did you eat some miraculous elixir? The Sword of Evil stared at Ningyu, his mouth slightly agape, his face filled with disbelief. How long had it been? Ningyu had actually advanced to the 8th grade Human Supreme. This kind of advancement speed was simply unheard of. I'm far inferior to you. You've already advanced to the 9th grade Human Supreme. Ningyu's gaze swept across the Sword of Evil and the others, and he discovered that their cultivations had all improved. The Sword of Evil had advanced to the 9th grade Human Supreme, revered Spirit Void had advanced to the half-step Earth Supreme Realm, and Dan Guzi had also advanced to the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. However, the one whose cultivation had improved the most was Lu Wei. Ningyu remembered that she was only a low-level Human Supreme. Now, she had actually transformed into a mid-8th grade Human Supreme, the same cultivation as him. He had gone through all sorts of hardships to advance to the mid-8th grade Human Supreme, but Lu Wei had actually advanced to the mid-8th grade Human Supreme so easily. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself with others, as expected of the purple spirit body. Her cultivation speed is astonishing. Ningyu knew that Lu Wei had the purple spirit body, and that the cultivation speed of a purple spirit body was extremely fast. Revered Talisman Marshal and Yun Mu were also very excited to see Ningyu. However, Ningyu noticed that they opened their mouths several times, wanting to say something, but then hesitated and didn't continue speaking. Ningyu furrowed his brows and secretly took note of it. This was because Ningyu discovered that Revered Talisman Marshal and Yun Mu's cultivation had also soared, both reaching the 8th grade Human Supreme Realm. Just what had happened? Could it be that after Palatial Mistress Centaurea returned to Giant Shield City, she used a terrifying amount of resources to forcefully raise their cultivation to this level? Let's talk inside. Perfected Demon gave Ningyu and the rest a few minutes, then said, "It's not very convenient here. Let's go." Since Perfected Demon had spoken, Ningyu naturally wouldn't ask here. No matter what, he had to give Perfected Demon some face. The building Ningyu and the rest entered was the City Lord residence. It was extremely huge, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as having 9 twists and turns. Looks like something really happened. As they shuttled through the City Lord residence, Ningyu's face gradually turned gloomy. Even though the cultivators in the distance were conversing in low voices, it couldn't escape Ningyu's sharp senses. Behind a fake mountain in the distance, 2 5th-grade human supremacies were conversing. One of the 5th-grade human supremacies with big ears pointed at Ningyu and the rest and said, "Those pieces of trash actually dared to leave Giant Shield Pavilion? Did they eat a bear's heart and leopard's gall?" No, they didn't eat a bear's heart and leopard's gall. They just went out to pick up a friend called Ningyu, an 8th-grade intermediate human supremacy. The other 5th-grade human supremacy with small ears said, "So what if he's an 8th-grade intermediate human supremacy? He's still going to be beaten up by Bai Chi." The 5th-grade human supremacy with big ears curled his lips and said in disdain, "Bai Chi has already said that as long as they dare to leave Giant Shield Pavilion, he will teach them a lesson. There's going to be a good show this time, but let's not get involved. After all, Bai Chi is the son of the current City Lord of Giant Shield City, and the City Lord has been sitting in the array core of the Supreme Killing Array to prevent anyone from 100 Flowers City from causing trouble." The 5th-grade human supremacy with small ears said. Clearly, this 5th-grade human supremacy with small ears didn't want to get involved. "It's too late. Bai Chi said that between him and those outsiders, we can only choose one." The cultivator with big ears shook his head and said, "In any case, I'll choose young City Lord Bai Chi. As for who you choose, I have no right to interfere." As he spoke, the cultivator with big ears walked into the distance, clearly not wanting to be associated with the cultivator with small ears. Chapter 14:28. Open provocation. Although Ning Yu was enraged by the conversation between the two cultivators, he did not voice it out. Firstly, this was the city lord's mansion of the giant shield city, and that Bai Qi was the son of the city lord. From the conversation between the two cultivators, Ning Yu knew that the city lord of the giant shield city was extremely powerful, at least a pinnacle 9th grade earth sovereign. It wasn't wise to clash with Bai Qi without understanding the situation. After sorting out his thoughts, Ning Yu maintained a calm expression, as if nothing had happened. Creak. Not long after, Saint Demon brought Ning Yu and the rest to the conference hall of the city lord's mansion. "Rest here for a moment, I'll take a look at the palace lord's situation." After bringing Ning Yu and the rest to the conference hall, Saint Demon left the hall. Along the way, Fairy Yun she had also left, so aside from Kwang Zhon and the rest, there was only the party that left the Great Xia Empire. Kwang Zhon listened to Ning Yu's instructions and gradually integrated into the void. Without Ning Yu's permission, Kwang Zhon would definitely not make a move. For a brief moment, the atmosphere was a little heavy, with no one speaking. Ning Yu casually found a chair and sat down, then closed his eyes to rest his mind. There was no need for Ning Yu to ask what had happened. Since Lu Wei and the rest didn't speak, then they naturally had their reasons. "What's wrong? Why aren't you speaking?" Although Ning Yu didn't speak, that didn't mean that the Dark Emperor wouldn't speak. The Dark Emperor had always been a chatterbox, and if he didn't speak for a long time, he would suffocate to death. The Dark Emperor came to Lu Wei and said, "Sister-in-law, tell me, what did you guys experience after we parted in the Transverse Canyon? How did your cultivation reach the 8th grade Earth Sovereign realm?" Lu Wei rolled her eyes and turned her head away. Clearly, Lu Wei didn't want to speak to the Dark Emperor. "Sword of Evil, tell us." The Dark Emperor didn't believe it and came to the side of the Sword of Evil. The Sword of Evil's reaction was similar to Lu Wei's. The only difference was that the Sword of Evil opened his mouth and wanted to say something. However, when he saw Lu Wei shake her head slightly, he chose to shut his mouth. "Ning Yu, it's good that you're fine. We still have some matters to attend to, so we'll get going first." Talisman Supremacy and Yun Mu, who were at the side, saw everything. They stood up and bid farewell to Ning Yu before swiftly walking towards the main entrance of the hall. Dong, dong, dong. Ning Yu opened his eyes slowly when he saw that Supremacy Martial Talisman and the rest were about to leave. His right hand was gently tapping on the chair. "Why are you leaving so quickly? Shouldn't we have a good chat after reuniting after such a long time?" Ning Yu opened his mouth and said lightly, "Sit down, let's have a good chat." This. Hearing Ning Yu's indifferent words, Supremacy Martial Talisman and Yun Mu stopped in front of the main entrance of the hall with an awkward expression on their faces. "Ning Yu, we really have urgent matters to attend to." Supremacy Martial Talisman braced himself and said, "Also, this is Giant Shield City, and Giant Shield Pavilion is the residence that the City Lord Residence has arranged for you. If you really don't have anything important to attend to, you should return to Giant Shield City first and wait." "What kind of place is Giant Shield Pavilion?" Ning Yu frowned and pretended not to know. Giant Shield Pavilion is. Supremacy Martial Talisman had no choice but to bite the bullet and say, "All right, you guys can leave first." At this moment, Lu Wei waved her hand and interrupted Supremacy Martial Talisman, saying, "There's nothing for you guys to do here." "Thank you." Lu Wei's words were like heavenly music to Supremacy Martial Talisman and Yun Mu's ears. They did not even turn their heads and quickly left the hall, disappearing in the blink of an eye. How troublesome. Since Lu Wei asked them to leave, Ning Yu naturally had no reason to stop them. He leaned back on the chair and rubbed his eyes, saying, "If you guys don't want to tell me, I won't force you." Ning Yu knew very well that Lu Wei and the rest definitely had their difficulties for not telling him. Therefore, Ning Yu did not make things difficult for them and waited quietly. Since that Bai Qi said that he would not let Lu Wei and the rest leave Giant Shield Pavilion, it meant that he would definitely come to this assembly hall. He would not go anywhere, he would definitely be able to wait for Bai Qi. I want to see who exactly Bai Qi is. Ning Yu closed his eyes again and did not continue speaking. The atmosphere was very heavy. Drip, drip. Time continued to pass, and the entire hall was abnormally quiet. No one spoke. Even the Dark Emperor, who was usually the most active, became a little quiet at this time. It seemed like the Dark Emperor smelled something. Swoosh. About 10 minutes later, a group of 3 cultivators swaggered into the assembly hall. Ning Yu looked over and was slightly surprised. The cultivation of these 3 cultivators had reached the 9th grade human supreme realm. Among them, there were 2 late 9th grade human supreme realm and 1 peak 9th grade human supreme realm. After entering the assembly hall, one of the late 9th grade human supreme realm said proudly, "Lu Wei, what do you think? Our young city lord said that as long as you agree to be his concubine, he will not make things difficult for you guys anymore. He will even give you a lot of cultivation resources so that you can quickly advance to the Earth Supreme Realm." Hehe, why are you talking nonsense with her? The young city lord said that we will first kidnap her and hold the concubine ceremony today. The other late-stage 9th grade supreme martial artist laughed sinisterly and said, "This time, 100 Flower City has suffered heavy losses. They won't be attacking Giant Shield City for a while, so the City Lord has already left the Supreme Killing Formation. With the City Lord supporting us, who do we have to be afraid of? Don't underestimate the enemy." The peak 9th grade human supreme realm said solemnly, "After all, Lu Wei and the rest have a good relationship with the Palace Lord. We shouldn't go overboard. We have to seek Lu Wei's opinion on everything. Don't worry, I have already sought Lu Wei's opinion. She said that there is no problem and that she is willing to be the young city lord's concubine." The late 9th grade human supreme realm who spoke first patted his chest and guaranteed, "Since there is no problem, you guys go first and take Lu Wei away." The peak 9th grade human supreme realm nodded his head in satisfaction. "Remember, don't use force. Don't let them get anything on you." The 3 cultivators chatted and did not put Ning Yu and the rest in their eyes. Rustle. It was so much so that one of the late phase 9th grade sovereign even looked at Ning Yu with a provocative gaze before walking towards Lu Xuan. As he moved forward, the late 9th grade human supreme realm unleashed his aura and pressed down on Lu Wei, making it impossible for Lu Wei to move. Sage Spiritual Shu, Dan Guzi. Ning Yu did not make a move immediately. He turned his gaze towards Sage Spiritual Shu and Dan Guzi. Logically speaking, the 2 of them were half-step Earth sovereigns. They should not have been able to tolerate someone openly provoking Lu Wei. But now, they were indifferent and did not even have the slightest intention of making a move. There's a problem. Seeing this, Ning Yu's brows furrowed. He vaguely felt that something was amiss. His soul power surged and Ning Yu used it to secretly enter Sage Spiritual Shu and Dan Guzi's bodies. Hiss. Chapter 1429. White Powder. Sage Spiritual Shu and Dan Guzi's condition could no longer be described as bad. Extremely bad. No wonder they had no intention of making a move. Given the condition of their bodies, it was already not easy for them to hold on until now, let alone forcibly making a move. It could be said that if Sage Spiritual Shu and Dan Guzi dared to make a move, their bodies would explode in the next instant. They couldn't circulate their Yuan Qi, not even a tiny bit. Ning Yu's soul power swept across the Sword of Evil and the others' bodies. Then, Ning Yu was completely enraged. Apart from Sage Spiritual Shu and Dan Guzi, even the Sword of Evil and Lu Wei's bodies were a mess. "Have you all forgotten that I'm here?" Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu looked at the peak 9th grade human sovereign. "Attacking my friend in front of me, isn't that a little too much? Did you all hear that? He actually said that to me." The peak 9th grade human sovereign's face was full of shock, then he pretended to be terrified. "I'm so scared, will he kill me?" "I don't think so. You'd better hurry and run." The late-stage 9th grade human sovereign who was walking towards Lu Wei stopped and said solemnly, "That's right, you can still make it if you run now," the other late-stage 9th grade human sovereign also said. Ha ha ha. However, as soon as they finished speaking, they couldn't help but laugh out loud. "It's funny, isn't it? Ningyu's eyes shone with a frightening light, then he stomped on the ground and shot forward. Since you want to die, then don't blame me. Seeing Ningyu charging towards him, the peak 9th grade human sovereign said coldly, I'll leave something in your body first. As he spoke, the pinnacle 9th grade sovereign took out a bottle of white powder and threw it towards Ningyu. As long as you swallow this, you won't dare to use your yuan qi so easily. The 9th grade peak human supreme martial artist was very confident. In his view, how capable could a mere 8th grade human sovereign like Ningyu be? If he wanted to make Ningyu swallow the white powder, it would be a piece of cake. Just right. Ningyu raised his right hand and firmly grasped the jade bottle containing the white powder. Catcher. As soon as Ningyu grabbed the jade bottle, it suddenly cracked open. The white powder rushed into Ningyu's body. Be careful. Seeing the jade bottle shatter, Lu Wei and the others' expressions changed greatly, and they hurriedly cried out. I'm fine. Ningyu turned around and smiled at Lu Wei and the others, then waved his hands. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. Ningyu's actions made the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme twitch his mouth. He said in disdain, I thought you were strong, but it turns out that you're just a fool. Silver spear wax head. Is that so? A sinister smile appeared on Ningyu's lips, then he gathered all the white powder into a narrow space. Next, Ningyu suddenly pushed his hands forward. Whoosh! The white powder turned into an afterimage and charged towards the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist at a shocking speed. Not good. The sudden change caused the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist's expression to change greatly. He knew exactly what the white powder was. If he was unlucky enough to come in contact with it, he would definitely end up like Lu Wei and the others. There's nothing bad about it. The speed of the white powder was fast, but Ningyu was even faster. He tore through the void and arrived before the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist in the blink of an eye. His right hand clenched into a fist, and with a violent yuan qi gale, he punched towards the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist's chest. Bang! Ah! A crisp sound came from the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist, accompanied by a pig-like shriek. You! Ningyu's fist had caused the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist to panic, allowing the white powder to enter his body. The 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist was dumbfounded. No one knew the terror of the white powder better than him. Antidote. He had to get the antidote from Bai Qi. Without the antidote, every second that passed would cause more damage to his body. Without leaving behind any harsh words, the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist left the palace without stopping. Because he couldn't use his yuan qi after coming in contact with the white powder, the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist could only leave on foot. Did I allow you to leave? Ningyu's figure flashed and came to the front of the palace. If you don't want to die, then go back and wait. You know my identity. I'm the young city lord. The 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist roared, trying to scare Ningyu away. However, halfway through his words, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was like a kite with a broken string as he fell heavily into the palace. I don't care who you are, but before I allow you to leave, you'd better stay here obediently. Ningyu's face was ugly. The condition of Lu Wei and Venerable Spiritual Shu's bodies was terrible, terrible to the extreme. If this wasn't the City Lord's mansion of Giant Shield City, Ningyu would have already started a massacre. What do you want? Seeing how easily Ningyu defeated the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist, the other two late-stage 9th grade martial artists revealed a terrified expression as they forced themselves to calm down. We don't have any ill intentions. We just want Lu Wei to become the young City Lord's concubine. The young City Lord is a peerless genius that only appears once in 1,000 years. If Lu Wei were to follow him, she would definitely enjoy a luxurious life. Crack, crack. Ningyu couldn't be bothered to waste his breath on this late-stage 9th grade martial artist. He charged out quickly and kicked the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's knees, causing him to kneel on the ground. Dark Emperor, you know what to do. After sealing the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's consciousness, Ningyu said to the Dark Emperor, As long as you don't die, you can do anything. Understood. The Dark Emperor had been waiting for this moment. On one hand, he was amazed by Ningyu's strength. On the other hand, he was sighing at his own weakness. Now that the opportunity had come, Ningyu had given him face by finding a late-stage 9th grade martial artist for him to devour. Since Ningyu thought so highly of him, the Dark Emperor naturally wouldn't disappoint Ningyu. What do you want? Looking at the black dog that was approaching him, the late-stage 9th grade martial artist asked in fear. You'll know in a moment. The Dark Emperor raised his front paw and placed it directly on the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's forehead. Kai Kai. In the next instant, strands of yuan qi gushed out of the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's head and entered the Dark Emperor's body. Crack crack. The Dark Emperor's cultivation, which had been stagnant for a long time, started to loosen at this moment. Not bad. After devouring you, I should be able to advance to the late-stage 6th grade martial artist. The Dark Emperor was very satisfied. He was already a late-stage 5th grade martial artist and was only a step away from the late-stage 6th grade martial artist. Furthermore, as his cultivation increased, the Dark Emperor's inherited memories increased. Chapter 1430. Purge. The Dark Emperor's actions caused the other late phase 9th grade sovereign's mouth to twitch as his heart sank to the bottom. A pinnacle 9th grade sovereign was defeated by Ningyu, and that black dog devoured another late phase 9th grade sovereign. He could predict that his fate would be miserable. You can leave now. However, Ningyu's next words left him dumbfounded. He never expected that Ningyu would actually let him leave. Can I go now? The 9th grade late-stage human supreme master pointed at his nose and asked in confusion. Go and call that Bai Qi over, and bring the antidote along the way. Ningyu waved his hand and said, if I don't see the antidote in 10 minutes, their fates will be miserable. Swish. Hearing Ningyu's words, the late phase 9th grade sovereign felt as if he had been granted amnesty and immediately left the hall. If he didn't leave now, when would he? 3 steps turned into 2 steps, and the 9th grade late-stage human supreme martial artist left without looking back. Ningyu, you're letting him go just like that. Seeing the late phase 9th grade sovereign leave, the Dark Emperor's face was filled with regret. What else can I do? Ningyu asked. Leave it for me to devour, of course. How stupid. The Dark Emperor looked at Ningyu as if he was looking at an idiot. Ningyu's face was filled with black lines. It's already good enough for a late phase 9th grade sovereign to devour, but you're asking for a mile after taking an inch. Forget it, I won't lower myself to your level. You're only a 5th grade sovereign anyway, the weakest in the hall. I have a good moral character, and I'm good at taking care of the weak and the elderly. If the Dark Emperor knew what Ningyu was thinking, he would definitely be furious and have a good talk with Ningyu. Ningyu, Bai Qi is not simple. Since Ningyu had completely fallen out with Bai Qi, Lu Wei no longer remained silent. After a brief pondering, she said, rumor has it that Bai Qi's cultivation should be at 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. You've never even seen Bai Qi's face. Ningyu was taken aback and asked doubtfully. Shaking her head, Lu Wei said, Bai Qi is the young city lord of Giant Shield City. He is usually cultivating and rarely appears. Then how did you offend him? Ningyu asked again. A few days ago, we came to Giant Shield City with Palatial Lord Centaurea. At that time, Palatial Lord Centaurea took out all the treasures she had left in Giant Shield City and handed them to us for safekeeping. As she spoke, Lu Wei took out a storage bag from her bosom and tossed it to Ningyu. Pa. After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu split out a bit of his perception to probe it. Unfortunately, there was a powerful restriction on the storage bag that he couldn't break with his current strength. Originally, there wasn't a restriction on the storage bag. The restriction was placed by a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, Lu Wei explained, and that 9th grade Earth Sovereign is Bai Qi's 3rd uncle. Where is Palatial Lord Centaurea right now? Ningyu asked with his brows tightly knitted. Palatial Lord Centaurea is in seclusion. She seems to be preparing to refine the soul luring pill, Lu Wei said. Although the soul luring pill is an 8th grade elixir, it's extremely difficult to refine. Ningyu frowned. He felt that Palatial Lord Centaurea might be a little too impatient. Perhaps Palatial Lord Centaurea had found an alchemist who could refine the soul-luring pill and wanted to exclude him? The more he thought about it, the more Ningyu felt that it was possible. Otherwise, perfected devil and fairy Yun, she wouldn't have treated him with such an attitude. He had been in the conference hall for more than 10 minutes, but not a single one of them had appeared. There was definitely something fishy going on. Ningyu made up his mind. As long as something was amiss, he would hide in the Tower of Ascension immediately. Relax your minds first. Let me see if I can expel the white powder from your bodies. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu said. Buzz. Next, Ningyu released his soul power and entered Lu Wei's body to expel the white powder. Kai. However, the moment Ningyu's soul power came into contact with the white powder, his expression changed and he hurriedly tried to retract his soul power. However, Ningyu's actions were clearly slower by half a beat. When his soul power came into contact with the white powder, it was immediately devoured and disappeared without a trace. It's useless. Lu Wei shook her head. Don't waste your energy. Recently, Talisman Supremacy and Yun Mu have also tried to expel the white powder for us. The result is the same as yours. Their soul power has been greatly depleted, but the white powder in our bodies hasn't decreased at all. Wait first. With a solemn expression, Ningyu closed his eyes and sent his soul power into the Tower of Ascension. On the 8th floor of the Tower of Ascension. Grandmaster Xingyun, how's your recovery? Ningyu asked as he looked at Grandmaster Xingyun, who was sitting cross-legged in front of him. Opening his eyes, Grandmaster Xingyun replied, I've recovered by about 50%. I believe I'll be back to my peak in another 3 to 4 days. I'm here to ask for a favor. Ningyu did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Those outside are my friends. There's a white powder in their bodies that I can't expel with my current soul power. I want to ask for your help. When that pinnacle 9th grade human sovereign threw out the white powder, I noticed it. Grandmaster Xingyun said, that white powder is called white bone demonic powder. It's an extremely poisonous powder. With your current pinnacle 8th grade soul power, it's indeed impossible to expel it. How about this? I'll lend you a few soul dons. Give them to your friends and they should be able to recover quickly. As he spoke, Grandmaster Xingyun's soul power surged and separated a few soul dons, handing them over to Ningyu. Grandmaster Xingyun's soul power was at the level of liquid into Dan. Giving a few soul dons to Ningyu did not affect him much. Thank you. After receiving the soul dons, Ningyu left the Tower of Ascension. Take them. Ningyu gave the soul dons to Lu Wei and the rest and warned them to take them immediately. Although they were suspicious, Lu Wei and the rest did not hesitate and swallowed the soul dons. Sizzle. As the soul dons entered their stomachs, Lu Wei and the rest began to emit white gas. Done. The white gas quickly dissipated and Lu Wei and the rest opened their mouths in disbelief. They understood the situation in their bodies very well. The white powder was extremely terrifying. Ordinary things could not expel it. Once they came into contact with it, they would be devoured. Just what did Ningyu give them? How could it resist the white powder? Could it be soul dons? Just because Lu Wei and the rest didn't know didn't mean Dan Guzi didn't. Dan Guzi was a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist. Although he had never seen a soul dance before, he could sense the terrifying soul power fluctuations coming from them. Chapter 1431. Chapter 1431. Chapter 1431. Baiguang, who dares to hurt my people? You'd better step out obediently. Otherwise, I'll definitely break you. The leader was a young man donned in black clothes. His gaze swept past Ningyu and the rest before stopping on the late phase 9th grade sovereign beside the Dark Emperor. The black-robed man's voice came to an abrupt halt when he saw the miserable state of the late 9th grade sovereign. Ka. Although the man in black did not speak, his fists were clenched so tightly that they made cracking sounds. Everyone in Giant Shield City knew that the 9th grade advanced human supreme martial artist was his man. Now, it was being stepped on by a black dog. If word of this got out, how could he keep a foothold in Giant Shield City? Today, I want to eat dog meat. Taking a deep breath, the black-clothed man stared at the Dark Emperor and said in a deep voice, "Go find me a pot, I'll stew it alive here." The black-clothed man was furious. If he did not kill the Dark Emperor, it would not be enough to resolve the hatred in his heart. Shaw. Hearing the black-clothed man's words, the martial artists behind him actually turned around and left, following his instructions to find the scapegoat. Although it looked very arrogant, everyone in the palace knew that the black-clothed man had the right to be arrogant. The black-robed man was not a human sovereign, but an earth sovereign, a peak first-grade earth sovereign. In Giant Shield City, his cultivation could be ranked in the top 5 among martial artists of his age. Damned dog, hurry up and get over here. The man in black did not target Ningyu. Instead, he targeted the Dark Emperor. Because the black-clothed man couldn't see through Ningyu's strength, he had to first probe Ningyu's strength to prevent himself from failing miserably. Catcher. The Dark Emperor didn't seem to hear the black-robed man's words. He exerted some force with his claws and stomped on the chest of the late-stage 9th-grade human supreme. With a crisp sound, a few more ribs of the late-stage 9th-grade human supreme broke. The Dark Emperor's action caused the man in black to be unable to endure it any longer. He waved his hand and said, "Go, take down that stupid dog for me." Whoosh, whoosh. In the next moment, 2 figures suddenly appeared beside the black-clothed man. The 2 cultivators were both pinnacle 9th-grade human sovereigns. The black-robed man had already determined that the Dark Emperor was an ordinary 5th-grade supreme martial artist. In his opinion, sending 2 peak 9th-grade sovereign stage human venerables would be a foolproof plan. Swoosh. The Dark Emperor stood on the spot without moving, and 2 figures suddenly appeared beside him. Revered Spirit Void, Dan Guzi. The sudden change had caused the 2 pinnacle 9th-grade sovereigns to stop. They knew that Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzi had consumed white bone devil powder and couldn't use their energy. If they insisted on attacking, then Dan Guzi and Spirit Void would very likely die. Now that the Centaurea palatial mistress's intentions were not very clear, they did not dare to kill anyone. Thus, they turned their heads, wanting to ask the man in black for his opinion. Heavily injured. The man in black thought for a moment and said, "But that black dog must be captured alive." Roger that. Since the black-clothed man had spoken, the 2 pinnacle 9th-grade sovereigns had already made a decision in their hearts. They looked at each other, then one charged towards the Dark Emperor, while the other charged towards Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzi. On the side, Ningyu had his arms crossed as he watched with interest. He had even started conversing with Jean Ba. Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzi had already consumed the soul pellets, and the white bone devil powder had been completely expelled from their bodies. With their current battle prowess at the half-step Earth Sovereign stage, 2 mere 9th-grade sovereigns were not their opponents. Pretending to be calm, the black-clothed man was stunned when he saw Ningyu's actions. Before the corner of his lips rose into an arc, "I'll see what else you can do later." Just at this moment, the situation suddenly changed. The black-clothed man's words came to an abrupt halt as he revealed an extremely shocked expression. Weren't Supremacy Spirit Void and the rest poisoned by the white bone devil powder? How could they still have such powerful battle prowess? Can't even withstand a single blow. Supremacy Spirit Void casually kicked a peak 9th-grade sovereign away and shrugged. In the future, don't let small fries like them come out and embarrass themselves. Sigh, I haven't even used my strength yet. How could it be over already? Dan Guzi also sighed humorously. In truth, with Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzi's characters, they definitely wouldn't have said such words in the past. Most importantly, they had been ridiculed so many times in this period of time that they had already accumulated a lot of anger in their hearts. Now that they had a chance to mock them back, they definitely wouldn't miss it. The black-clothed man's surprise wasn't over yet. The Dark Emperor raised his front claw and swung it down heavily. Without a doubt, the 2 peak 9th-grade sovereigns had also become the Dark Emperor's captives. "Many thanks, the 2 of you. I'll treat you to a feast later." The Dark Emperor winked at Venerable Spirit Shu and Dan Guzi. "With these 2 great meals, it's a matter of time before I reach the 6th-grade human sovereign realm." "No problem." I think you have a chance to advance to the 7th grade sovereign stage today. Supremacy Spirit Void waved his hand, his gaze sweeping across the cultivators behind the black-clothed man. Russell. Being stared at by Supremacy Spirit Void, the cultivators behind the black-clothed man all took a few steps back, not daring to look straight at him. Among them, the strongest was a half-step Earth Sovereign. But with the state that Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzzi had displayed just now, ordinary half-step Earth Sovereigns weren't their match. Unless the black-clothed man personally faced off against Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzzi, even if they went all out, they still wouldn't be a match for Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzzi. What do you mean by that? The black-clothed man's face darkened. This is the City Lord's mansion. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. All right, stop acting atrociously. At this moment, Ningyu took a step forward and said, "Leave the antidote and you can scram." Antidote? What antidote? The black-clothed man was confused. The antidote for the white bone demonic powder, of course. Didn't you bring it? Ningyu frowned. You actually know about the white bone demonic powder. The black-clothed man was shocked. Ningyu actually knew about the white bone demonic powder. Their City Lord's mansion had no way to develop the white bone demonic powder. Their white bone demonic powder had to be purchased from the 100 Flowers City. Even in the City Lord's mansion, aside from a few higher-ups, no one else knew about the white bone demonic powder. Now that Ningyu knew about it, how could the black-clothed man not be shocked? What's there to be surprised about? Ningyu curled his lips. Hand over the antidote, and I can consider letting you leave. Otherwise, you should know the consequences. They want me to know the consequences? The black-clothed man snorted coldly and said arrogantly, "Do you know who I am? I'm Bai Guang, the son of the current City Lord of Giant Shield City. If you dare to touch me, I'll make sure you die a tragic death." Oh, right. Chapter 1432. Chapter 1432. Chapter 1432. Trouble comes knocking you, are not Bai Qi? Ningyu did not notice the first half of Bai Guang's sentence. Similarly, Ningyu did not notice the latter half of the sentence. Ningyu's attention was focused on Bai Guangzhong's words. What? You're called Bai Guang? In the end, you're not Bai Qi? Then why are you talking nonsense with me here? Ningyu was furious, extremely furious. His original intention was to let Bai Qi come over. Who would have thought that Bai Guang actually came? Bai Guang then, but you have to be a little more humble, right? A mere pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign actually dared to be arrogant in front of an 8th-grade intermediate human sovereign like him. Fine, a pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign was indeed qualified to be arrogant in front of an 8th-grade intermediate human sovereign. Very well, you are indeed very arrogant. Seeing Ningyu's expression, Bai Guang's expression was very ugly. No matter what, he was still a peak first-grade Earth Supreme. This was intolerable. Am I arrogant? I've never said that I'm arrogant. It's just everyone's praise. Ningyu shrugged and said, "You can't do it. It's better to get someone stronger to come over so that you won't be beaten to the point of crying for your parents. You're courting death." Being sarcastically mocked by Ningyu like this, Bai Guang could not endure it anymore. With a loud shout, he dashed toward Ningyu in a flash. Seeing Bai Guang charge out, Sage Spirit Shu and Dan Guzzi moved, wanting to block Bai Guang for Ningyu. No need. But just when they wanted to move, Ningyu waved his hand. I can even withstand the attack of a heavenly sovereign, so a mere first-grade Earth Sovereign is nothing to me. Puff. Upon hearing Xiao Chen's words, the cultivators that Bai Guang brought all mocked him. In their opinion, the move that Tuor he had used outside Giant Shield City was at most 100th or even 1,000th of his peak strength. Ningyu did block that move, but he was also beaten to the point of vomiting blood. How dare he look down on Bai Guang with such strength? I'll show you later. At this moment, not only did Bai Guang's cultivators have such thoughts, even Sage Spirit Shu and the rest weren't sure. They knew that Ningyu was powerful, but none of them had any confidence in dealing with a first-grade Earth Supreme. Ningyu, this is Giant Shield City. If you're a dragon, you'd better lie down. If you're a snake, you'd better. Bai Guang roared when he saw that he was about to reach Ningyu. Guang Ningyu responded to Bai Guang with 2 words of disdain. When these 2 words came out of his mouth, Ningyu clenched his right fist and unavoidably collided with Bai Guang's fist. Ningyu was a middle grade 8 human sovereign, while Bai Guang was a peak grade 1 Earth Supreme. Almost no one was optimistic about Ningyu's chances of winning. Crack. However, what happened next left everyone shocked. Bai Guang flew out a few feet and heavily slammed against the wall of the palace. Poof! First, the bones on his fist broke, then Bai Guang vomited a mouthful of blood. His face was pale without any color. One move. Just one move and a pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign was easily defeated. Not to mention everyone, even Bai Guang himself did not expect this. Poof! After defeating Bai Guang with a single move, Ningyu did not continue attacking. Instead, he casually found a chair and sat down, then clapped his hands and said indifferently, "Go call Bai Qi over. I'll give all of you 10 minutes. Bai. Young City Lord Bai is currently in seclusion, and he can't come over." Ningyu's indifferent expression made them even more nervous. Fiend. Ningyu was definitely a fiend. He was able to defeat a pinnacle first-grade Earth Supreme with the cultivation of a middle-grade 8th-grade Earth Supreme. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself with others. "You can't come over?" Ningyu's brows twitched as he walked towards Bai Guang. Ningyu's speed was neither fast nor slow. Roughly 30 seconds later, he had arrived before Bai Guang. Slightly tidying up the clothes on his right leg, Ningyu abruptly raised his right leg and heavily stomped on Bai Guang's knee. Crack. Ah. 2 silhouettes rang out. One was from his knee, while the other was from Bai Guang himself. "Is there any way to come over in 10 minutes? Ningyu faintly asked after stomping on Bai Guang's knee. This time, the few cultivators that Bai Guang brought along were silent. The reason why they were silent wasn't because they had a way to invite Bai Qi over, but they were afraid that Ningyu would do something crazy again. Ningyu did not hold back, and if he crippled Bai Guang, Bai Qi would definitely not let them off. "What? Is there a problem?" Ningyu knitted his brows as he raised his right leg and was about to stomp down. "No problem. We'll look for the young city lord now." Seeing Ningyu's actions, the few cultivators that Bai Guang brought along panicked. They immediately nodded their heads and strode out of the palace. If they stayed any longer, Bai Guang would definitely be finished. "Ningyu, you're letting them go just like that. Aren't you afraid that they'll bring a few high-rank Earth Sovereigns over?" Seeing the few cultivators leaving, Lu Wei slightly knitted her brows. Truth be told, Lu Wei was extremely shocked that Ningyu could defeat Bai Guang in a single move. She possessed the purple spirit physique, so her fighting strength was extremely powerful. But even so, it would be extremely difficult for her to defeat a quasi-Earth Sovereign with her cultivation at middle phase 8th grade Sovereign, not to mention a first-grade Earth Sovereign. The fact that Ningyu could defeat a first-grade Earth Sovereign had truly shocked Lu Wei. But despite being shocked, Lu Wei was still worried. Now that Ningyu had let those cultivators go, she believed that the experts of the City Lord's mansion would definitely rush over in a few minutes. "High-rank Earth Sovereign?" Ningyu did not directly answer Lu Wei's question, but waved his hand. "Senior Quang Zhon, are you all right?" "I'm fine." Quang Zhon's robust voice resounded in the palace. When Quang Zhon's voice resounded, Lu Wei and the rest instantly understood. How could they have forgotten about Quang Zhon? Quang Zhon was a high-rank Earth Sovereign, not to mention that he was also a ferocious figure. Unless the other party invited the current City Lord, anyone would have to think twice before coming. "All right, there's nothing else for you to do." Ningyu waved his hand. Buzz. Buzz. Space trembled before it returned to its calm state. Crack. The space in the palace returned to its calm state, but the space outside the palace was no longer calm. "How is it? That 9th grade Earth Sovereign has appeared. How confident are we in controlling him?" Outside the palace, in the void, the 3 martial artists' faces were extremely solemn. One of the older cultivators said in a solemn voice, "The City Lord has received the latest news. The Yuzu Pagoda is with Ningyu. No matter what, We must bring Ningyu to his residence. Bring him to his residence. Didn't he say that we should seize the Yuzu pagoda? Another cultivator asked in doubt. The situation has changed. The older martial artist shook his head and said. Chapter 1433. White River. How can we let them deal with it themselves? That kid, Ningyu, is too formidable. Even Bai Guang was easily defeated. Besides Bai Qi, who else in the same generation is a match for him? Another cultivator said, Bai Qi just went into secluded cultivation not long ago. If he could come out, he would definitely be able to reach the third-grade Earth Sovereign Realm. It's impossible for him to come out at this time. Bai Qi will definitely come out of seclusion within half an hour. The older martial artist said. Half an hour? Are you kidding me? Could it be that Bai Qi didn't want to break through? No. You're saying that Bai Qi only needs half an hour to reach the third-grade Earth Sovereign Realm? Halfway through his sentence, the cultivator seemed to have thought of something. His eyes widened in surprise. Yes, our mission is to stall Ningyu for half an hour. After half an hour, Bai Qi will naturally come out to deal with him. The older martial artist nodded. If someone were to see these three martial artists, they would definitely be shocked. There were three famous ninth-grade Earth Sovereigns in the Giant Shield City's City Lords faction. Bai Feng, Bai Yu, Bai He. The three swordsmen of Giant Shield City, the three of them were initial ninth-grade Earth Sovereigns. Although their cultivations were only at the initial phase ninth-grade Earth Sovereign realm, the three of them could confront a late-phase ninth-grade Earth Sovereign together. The three swordsmen of Giant Shield City were not just for show. Of course, Ningyu did not know about the three swordsmen of Giant Shield City. At this moment, he was sitting on a chair in the main hall, his fingers tapping on the table non-stop. Dong dong dong. The crisp sound continued to ring out, as if there was a rhythm. Since Ningyu did not speak, no one in the hall spoke. Especially Bai Guang, his face had turned green. Originally, he had come in a rage to denounce them. But now, not only did he fail to denounce them, he had become a prisoner. Next time, don't look for me if there's something like this. If Bai Qi was here, Bai Guang would probably give him a good scolding right away. It's been 5 minutes, why isn't Bai Qi here yet? In the blink of an eye, 5 minutes had passed. Ningyu looked at the main hall's main entrance and said doubtfully, could it be that Bai Guang and Bai Qi's relationship isn't good? Or perhaps Bai Guang is the illegitimate son of the city governor of Gigantic Shield City. Puff. Hearing Ningyu's words, the Dark Emperor laughed out loud. Hey, Ningyu, aren't you being too unkind? Even if you know he's an illegitimate child, you can't expose his shortcomings. The Dark Emperor sighed. The first half of the sentence was already hurtful enough. The second half was even more hurtful. We still don't know much about the affairs of the noble circle. The Dark Emperor and Ningyu echoed each other, making Bai Guang's face turn green. He forcefully swallowed the blood in his throat. Did I dig up your ancestral grave? You're actually trying so hard to insult me. Dark Emperor, go and entertain Bai Guang well and urge him. Ningyu said to the Dark Emperor. All right, I'm the best at this kind of thing. The Dark Emperor kicked away the peak grade 9 human supreme that he had sucked dry and walked towards Bai Guang step by step. After a few minutes of devouring and refining, the Dark Emperor had made huge improvements. His cultivation had also silently advanced from grade 5 human supreme to grade 6 human supreme. Looking at the big black dog that was approaching him, Bai Guang's body trembled. At this moment, he was finally afraid. This black dog wouldn't come to devour me, right? What do you want? Bai Guang pretended to be calm and said in a deep voice. Nothing, I just wanted to come over and have a chat with you. The Dark Emperor shrugged, then raised his front paw and kicked Bai Guang's chest. Catcher. His ribs were broken. From now on, every minute that passes, I'll break one of your ribs. After breaking Bai Guang's ribs, the Dark Emperor looked for a chair and jumped onto it, closing his eyes to rest. Keek. The Dark Emperor's actions made Bai Guang grind his teeth in anger. Are we going or not? In the void outside the hall, Bai Feng saw that Bai Guang's ribs were broken and asked anxiously. Let's wait a little longer. Bai he was the oldest and the calmest. At this moment, he couldn't screw up. As long as he could drag it out for half an hour, so what if Bai Guang broke a few ribs? Moreover, when one's cultivation was at the Earth Supreme level, breaking a few ribs was nothing. All right. Since Bai he had spoken, Bai Feng didn't say anything else. However, he secretly made up his mind that as long as he had the chance, he would definitely teach that black dog a lesson. Drip. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, a minute passed. Catcher. The Dark Emperor did what he said. He raised his front paw and broke another rib of Bai Guang. Bai he didn't say anything. Another minute passed. Catcher. The Dark Emperor kicked out again and broke another rib of Bai Guang. Bai he still didn't say anything. Another minute passed. Catcher. Again. Bai his face turned ugly, from red to black, then white. Catcher. Catcher. On the fourth minute, the Dark Emperor decisively broke two of Bai Guang's ribs. Either way, there was still the last minute left. Regarding Bai Qi's appearance, the Dark Emperor didn't hold much hope anymore. Are we going or not? In the void outside the hall, Bai Feng and Bai Yu both clenched their fists, extremely furious. At this rate, Bai Guang would definitely suffer heavy injuries. After all, with Ning Yu and that black dog's character, they would definitely not let Bai Guang have it easy. And the reason why Bai Guang would come over to find trouble with Ning Yu was entirely because they faked the imperial edict, making Bai Guang mistakenly think that it was Bai Qi's request. We must make a move. After all, Bai Guang's injuries this time were entirely because of us. Bai Yu also concurred. You guys hide here first, I'll go first. Bai his expression was extremely solemn. When the Dark Emperor wanted to make a move for the fifth time, he moved. Bai his speed was very fast. In virtually a blink of an eye, he arrived beside the Dark Emperor. The Dark Emperor's front paw had just raised and had yet to step on Bai Guang's ribs when Bai he appeared out of the void, smashing a fist toward his chest. Berserker. The sudden change had caused Ning Yu's face to drastically change. The Dark Emperor was only a 6th grade sovereign, so his strength wasn't particularly powerful. Even a greater 1st grade Earth sovereign wouldn't be able to confront him. Now that a 9th grade Earth sovereign had appeared, how could the Dark Emperor deal with it? Thus, Ning Yu contacted Berserker without any hesitation. Don't hold back. Ning Yu was ruthless and ordered Berserker to not hold back. When dealing with an enemy, he had to deal a heavy blow and not give the enemy any chance to retaliate. Shit. Bai his fist was about to reach the Dark Emperor's chest, but his face drastically changed in an instant. Without any time to think, Bai he immediately retreated at a terrifying speed. Boom. But even if Bai he was retreating at a terrifying speed, he was still half a beat too slow. A massive palm suddenly flew out from the void and slammed against his chest. A muffled sound resounded. Bai he retreated a few feet and slammed against the door of the hall. Crack, crack, crack. Chapter 1434. Chapter 1434. Chapter 1434. Snatched the elixir Pucci. Dark red blood sprayed out from Bai his mouth, and his face turned ghastly pale. Bai he knew that the martial artist hidden in the void was powerful, but he didn't expect him to be this powerful. Moreover, Bai he was extremely puzzled. Why isn't Chen Shi acting according to convention? I just wanted to teach that arrogant black dog a lesson. How could you be so heavy-handed? Do you really think that the 3 swordsmen of Giant Shield City are easy to bully? Voila! Outside the hall, Bai Feng and Bai Yu saw Bai his miserable state and immediately tore through the void and appeared in the hall. Pa! Bai Feng and Bai Yu didn't get into a conflict with Berserk Warrior right away. Instead, they hurriedly helped Bai he up, placed their hands on his back, and started healing him. Kai. Wisps of vital energy flowed through their palms and into Bai Ha's body. At the same time, Bai Feng and the others used their perception to probe Bai his body. Damn it! As soon as their senses entered Bai his body, the expressions of Bai Feng and the others became extremely unsightly, and they could not help but curse. The condition of White River's body was extremely bad. Even if they tried their best, they wouldn't be able to cure him in a short period of time. Why don't we use that pill? Clenching his teeth, Bai Feng said hesitantly. No, even if the three of us were to join hands, it would still be very difficult for us to be a match for him. Bai He shook his head. Then what should we do? We can't just sit here and wait for death, right? Bai Feng said in a deep voice. Let's go, we'll take Bai Guang away first. We'll talk about the rest after young city lord Bai Qi comes out of seclusion. After a brief pondering, Bai He said, as long as we don't make a move, I believe that the 9th grade Earth Sovereign will not make a move, either. Let the younger generation settle their own matters. All right. Bai Feng and Bai Yu nodded. This was probably the best way to deal with it at this stage. Even if the three swordsmen joined forces, it would still be difficult for them to fight against the 9th grade Earth Sovereign beside Ning Yu. Not to mention that Bai He was heavily injured and couldn't exert even half of his peak strength. Perhaps leaving was the best choice. Of course, even if he wanted to leave, he had to take Bai Guang with him. This matter was not up for discussion. Bai Feng withdrew his palm and went straight to Bai Guang. He lifted Bai Guang up and walked out of the hall. As he walked, Bai Feng turned back to glare at Ning Yu. His eyes were filled with viciousness. You're letting them go just like that? Seeing that Bai Feng and the others were about to leave, the Dark Emperor said anxiously. What else? What do you think we should do? Ning Yu twisted his neck and asked. What else can we do? Naturally, we have to keep all of them here. After that, Bai Guang will break a few of his lightning fruits. As for the other 9th grade Earth Sovereigns, hehe, leave them to me. The Dark Emperor spoke in a clear voice without any hesitation. After all, with Berserk battle here, the Dark Emperor didn't have to worry about the pill furnace. When Berserker was outside the giant shield city, he had once fought with Tuor He, who was in the heavenly supreme realm. Such a powerful cultivator wasn't a match for the three initial 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. Actually, what you said isn't without reason. Ning Yu knitted his brows and said to Berserker, let's do as the Dark Emperor said. He's not giving me face by leaving the hall without my permission, and I've never let those who don't give me face have it easy. Rustle. Berserker did not bother with Ning Yu. He tore space apart and appeared before Bai Feng in the blink of an eye. Boom. He clenched his right fist and threw it towards Bai Feng's right arm. Berserker's move was very particular. Bai Feng only had two choices when he punched towards Bai Feng's arm. First, it was a head-on clash, which might result in his right arm being broken. Second, it was to hand Bai Guang over. Bai Feng's eyes flickered before he threw Bai Guang towards Bai Yu. Crack. Just when Bai Feng threw Bai Guang out, Berserker's fist arrived before his chest. A crisp sound rang out. Without a doubt, one of Bai Feng's ribs had been broken. The broken ribs had greatly affected Bai Feng. His body directly fell to the ground, and he fell face first into the mud. Swish. Berserker did not stop after that move. His figure flickered as he flew towards Bai Yu. Retreat. Seeing that Berserker was about to reach Bai Yu, Bai He was shocked and hurriedly shouted. At such a close distance, it was obviously too late for Bai Yu to retreat. He held Bai Guang with his left hand and clenched his right fist as he made a head-on collision with Berserker. Crack. As it turned out, Bai Yu had thought too much. As soon as his fist came into contact with Berserker's, a cracking sound could be heard. His bones were broken. Bai Yu was only an initial grade 9 Earth Supreme. With his strength, he was naturally not Berserker's opponent. After heavily injuring Bai Feng and Bai Yu, Berserker turned to look at Ning Yu. Leave the rest to me. Ning Yu stood up and walked towards Bai He. Ning Yu was not worried that Bai He would suddenly go berserk. With Berserker around, he could be at ease. What the hell are you trying to do? Bai He's face was dark as he coldly said, this is the giant shield city. Aren't you afraid that the city lord will reprimand you for making a move on us? Haha, don't use the city lord to pressure me. If he wanted to reprimand me, he would have come long ago. How could there be no movement from him? Ning Yu shrugged and smiled. 10 minutes have passed, and the antidote for the white bone demonic powder has yet to be delivered. So I can only apologize to you guys. You dare to kill us? Bai He was enraged as he stretched his right hand into his bosom, wanting to take out the pellets that he carried with him. Since he was so close to Ningyu, he had a chance of capturing Ningyu alive. Naturally, the prerequisite was that he had to take the pellets to recover to his peak state. Otherwise, everything would be futile. But just when he stretched his right hand into his bosom, Ningyu had already charged out like a bolt of lightning and kicked his wrist. A miserable shriek resounded from his mouth. At this moment, his right wrist was broken. Ningyu had sharp eyes and nimble hands, and he fished out the jade bottle in his embrace. In the jade bottle, there was a white pellet. This pellet is pretty good, it's mine now. Seeing the white pellet, Ningyu's heart trembled. This pellet was unique, and it could practically regrow flesh from the dead. It could be said that whoever had this pill was equivalent to having a second life. No wonder he didn't take it right away. So it turns out that he wanted to use it on his blade. Looks like I've gotten a bargain this time. Ningyu was satisfied. Since the city lord of the giant shield city wanted to harm him, then he wouldn't feel any guilt for taking the pellets from he. It was so much so that after a brief pondering, Ningyu said to Quanzhong, "Take out all the magical treasures and pellets from the 3 ninth grade Earth Sovereigns. I'll take care of them." "What? You dare? This is the giant shield city." Hearing the latter part of Ningyu's words, he and the rest's faces changed. Losing a single pellet was already painful for them, and now Ningyu wanted to kill them? Chapter 1435. I'll go myself. Behave yourselves. Berserk warrior ignored the roars of White River and the others. He kicked his butt with his right foot, sending him flying into the air. Then, his right hand moved at the same time, carrying Feng and Yu, and disappeared together. Buzz buzz buzz. Although Berserk warrior and the others had disappeared, the void in the hall was still trembling. Fortunately, the trembling did not last for too long, and it quickly returned to normal. Bang, bang, bang. Following that, 3 figures flew out from the void and landed heavily on the ground. Feng, Yu, He. It was obvious that the 3 cultivators who had flown out of the void were them. Xiu. Following closely behind, Berserk warrior also flew out. However, in Berserk warrior's hand, there were 3 or 4 storage pouches. These were all taken from their bodies. Mad warrior threw the storage pouch in his hand to Ningyu and said, "Moreover, I've left something special in their sea of knowledge. If they dare to be disobedient, I'll make their heads explode." Berserker would not hold back in the slightest. Ningyu had rescued the majority of the people from Nebula Academy. This kindness was enough to make him serve Ningyu like an ox or a horse for a few years. He did not feel that it was inappropriate to do something within his power for Ningyu. "Thanks a lot." After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu solemnly bowed to Mad Warrior to express his gratitude. This was a different matter altogether. The reason why he saved the people of Nebula Academy was because he had enmity with the Emperor Divine Palace and the Jin family. Since Mad Warrior had helped him so much, Ningyu would definitely not forget it. "Ningyu, you're finished. No one in this world can save you." White River was practically gnashing his teeth as he spoke. As a 9th grade Earth Supreme, he always carried precious herbs, elixirs, and artifacts with him. How could he endure being robbed by Ningyu this time? Besides He, Feng and Yu were also angered to the point of trembling. However, they knew their own limitations, and they knew that it was enough for He to make noise at this moment. If they were to interfere, then it was very likely that they would arouse even greater disgust from Ningyu. With Ningyu's fearless personality, if he were to kill them here, who would they go to for justice? "You want to kill me?" Ningyu stared into his eyes and said solemnly, "There are many people who want to kill me. You should first consider whether you have the ability to do so before you try to kill me. I indeed don't have that ability, but the city lord does." He was unrepentant as he pointed at Quanzhong. If I have not guessed incorrectly, his cultivation has not reached the pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign realm. If the city lord personally makes a move, even he will have to suffer a grievance. "Hearing you say that, I'm actually a little scared." Ningyu pretended to be terrified and said, "Then tell me, what should I do now?" "What should you do? That's simple. First return our things to me, Then heal the injuries on Bai Guang's body. Finally, kneel down. Bai He said proudly. However, Bai He only spoke halfway before he realized that something was amiss. This is bad. Blessings and misfortunes come from talking too much. Ning Yu wasn't really repentant, but he was just testing him. As long as you can treat Bai Guang, we will report this matter to the city lord and let bygones be bygones. After all, Bai Guang was also in the wrong. After knowing the consequences, Bai He immediately tried to salvage the situation, hoping that he could make it in time. Dark Emperor. Ning Yu wasn't interested in listening to his nonsense, so he said to the Dark Emperor, I'll leave this Bai He to you. Take good care of him. I guarantee that I will accomplish my mission. The Dark Emperor revealed an ecstatic expression. Usually, he only devoured human sovereigns, and he couldn't even touch an Earth sovereign. Now that he had the opportunity to devour a 9th-grade Earth sovereign, how could he let it go? The Dark Emperor wasn't afraid of anything. Even if the sky collapsed, there would be someone to hold it up. He only had to focus on cultivating. What are you trying to do? Looking at the approaching Dark Emperor, Bai He exclaimed as he swiftly retreated. However, he was heavily injured, so his speed wasn't as fast as the Dark Emperor. Boom! The Dark Emperor swept his tail and firmly wrapped around Bai He, then disappeared in the blink of an eye. Hiss! The sudden disappearance of Bai He and the Dark Emperor caused Bai Feng and Bai Yu to suck in a cold breath with their faces drained of blood. That black dog couldn't be trying to devour Bai He, right? You're only a 6th-grade mortal sovereign, and you want to devour a 9th-grade Earth sovereign? Aren't you afraid of your body exploding? At this moment, both Bai Feng and Bai Yu fell into silence. Aside from them, even Lu Wei and Venerable Spirit Shu were silent. They shifted their gazes towards Ning Yu to see Ning Yu's reaction. Poof! But when they saw how calm Ning Yu was, they immediately spewed a mouthful of blood. There wasn't much change in Ning Yu's expression as he said to Bai Feng and Bai Yu, I'll give you guys a chance to live. Cripple one of Bai Guang's arms each. Otherwise, the Dark Emperor will devour you guys as well. Don't even think about it. Bai Feng clenched his teeth as he continued, Bai Guang is the son of the City Lord, and the City Lord is a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth sovereign. Crippling his arms is equivalent to pushing us into a pit of fire. Absolutely not. Bai Yu said in a solemn voice. All right, I won't force you. Ning Yu shrugged as he sat on the chair and closed his eyes. What's going on? Could it be that Ning Yu's character had changed? Truth be told, Ning Yu's current performance had made Bai Feng and Bai Yu feel uneasy in their hearts. There must be a reason behind this abnormality. They were worried that Ning Yu would suddenly explode and kill them. Are you sure you won't make things difficult for us? Bai Feng was still a little worried as he probed. You're a little weird. I wanted to make a move, but you guys threatened me. I didn't want to make a move, but you guys made irresponsible remarks. Ning Yu stood up and said, Venerable Spirit Shu, Dan Guzi, the two of you suppress the two of them. Sword of Evil, bring Bai Guang along. We'll set off for Giant Shield City. Set off. Ning Yu's words left Venerable Spirit Shu and the rest dumbfounded. This was the Giant Shield City, and the City Lord's mansion at that. You still want to go to Giant Shield City? What are you trying to do? Sorry, it was a slip of the tongue. We're going to Bai Chi's residence. Ning Yu slapped his head as he continued, since Bai Chi isn't coming, then I can only go and meet him personally. No. You can't. Bai Chi's residence is very dangerous. It's the most dangerous place in Giant Shield City. You can't go. It's rumored that there are many arrays there. Without the City Lord's token, anyone who goes there will die. Hearing that Ning Yu wanted to find Bai Chi, Lu Wei and the rest stood up at the same time, all of them disagreeing. No matter what, Giant Shield City was the second largest city under the 100 Flowers Palace. Their City Lord was a genuine pinnacle 9th-grade Earth sovereign. Even though the leaders of Giant Shield City on the surface were Fairy Yun Shi and Reverend Shen Mo, no one could deny the authority of Giant Shield City's City Lord and the dangers of Giant Shield City's forbidden area. Chapter 1436. Chapter 1436. Chapter 1436 on Love It Doesn't Matter. Ning Yu waved his hand, and then he left the hall. Seeing Ningyu's action, Lu Wei and the others looked at each other and followed. Although they didn't know why Ningyu would make such a decision, since Ningyu dared to go to the forbidden area of Giant Shield City to find Bai Qi, it meant that he had the ability and the trump card. Ningyu was involved in this mess for them. If they didn't support Ningyu, who would support Ningyu? Swoosh. The group left the conference hall in a grandiose manner and headed for the forbidden area of Giant Shield City. Along the way, they attracted the attention of the crowd. Isn't that Ningyu? The one who took a blow from a Sky Supreme outside the city. Why is your attention so strange? That is indeed Ningyu, but the other two are Bai Yu and Bai Feng, two of the three swordsmen of Giant Shield City. What? Bai Yu and Bai Feng? Aren't they 9th grade Earth Sovereigns? Why are they together with Ningyu? Who knows? Maybe the city lord asked them for help. Look, isn't that Bai Guang being carried by that martial artist? Bai Guang? Which Bai Guang? Who else could it be? Of course it's the city lord's son, Bai Guang. I heard that he brought a few warriors to cause trouble for Lu Wei and the others. Why is he with Ningyu now? Everyone was talking about it. Then, a few people ran to the conference hall to find out what was going on. Hiss. As soon as they arrived at the main entrance of the conference hall, they gasped. Inside the conference hall, several grade 9 human supremes were lying on the ground. Those with good memories knew that these grade 9 human supremes were the ones who came with Bai Guang not long ago. Could it be that Bai Guang and the others were being held hostage? Thinking of this, the cultivators all revealed looks of disbelief. Bai Guang was still fine, since he was only a pinnacle 1st grade Earth Sovereign. However, Bai Feng and Bai Yu were 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. Also, the three swordsmen of Giant Shield City were said to be inseparable. Why were only 2 of them here? Where was the last one? Although Bai Feng and Bai Yu were strong, compared to Bai He, they were not just a tiny bit inferior. Even if Bai Feng and Bai Yu joined hands, they wouldn't be by his match. Ningyu didn't take the discussions around him to heart at all. Since he had decided to find Bai Qi, he had to go. He wouldn't care if Bai Qi bullied others. But if Bai Qi bullied Lu Wei and Honorable Spirit Shu, he had to intervene. No matter what kind of dragon's pool or tiger's den it was, he would only know once he went in. Dark Emperor, give some of that white river to the sapling and the spatial laws. Don't take it all for yourself. Ningyu warned the Dark Sovereign in his storage ring as he walked. In the eyes of Lu Wei and the rest, the Dark Emperor stayed in the hall. However, only Ningyu knew that the Dark Emperor had already entered the storage ring. Right now, the Dark Emperor was fully focused on refining White River. The terrifying energy contained in a 9th grade Earth Sovereign wasn't something that the Dark Emperor could control. Fortunately, he had the help of the sapling and the spatial laws. Otherwise, the Dark Emperor would have long been devoured by the backlash. I definitely have to give some to the 2 seniors. The Dark Emperor said righteously, I'm not like someone who wants to take everything for himself. The Dark Emperor's meaning was clear. He was complaining that Ningyu had obtained all of Bai his treasures and elixirs, but didn't give any to him. If you continue to make a fuss, I won't give you any energy. The sapling and the spatial laws were dissatisfied with the Dark Emperor's actions. What righteousness was he talking about? If they didn't help the Dark Emperor, he would have died a long time ago. And he wanted to devour White River. What a fool's dream. The Dark Emperor felt a little awkward. He immediately tried to play dumb and said, Seniors, let's just devour and refine it. He's a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, after all. If he has any trump cards, it won't be worth it. Cut the crap. Hurry up. The sapling and the spatial laws said impatiently. All right, I'll be right there. The Emperor of the Dark World ignored Ningyu and ran off to work. He was currently a 6th grade Earth Sovereign. If he could devour White River, even if it was just a 3rd, he could easily advance to a 7th grade Earth Sovereign. The Dark Emperor's actions made Ningyu's face dark. If he knew this would happen, he would have left White River for himself to devour. Ningyu was currently a 8th grade Earth Sovereign. If he could devour White River, there was a high chance that he could advance to a 9th grade Earth Sovereign. After a brief thought, Ningyu turned around and said to Bai Feng, Tell me about the dangers in the forbidden areas of the City Lord's mansion. Bai Feng ignored Ningyu and turned his head away. Then you tell me. Ningyu wasn't angry and said to Bai Yu. No comment. Bai Yu coldly said these words. Ningyu wasn't angry and said to Bai Guang, they don't know, but you should know, right? Tell me in detail. Bai Guang was speechless. What do you mean they don't know? Are you really stupid or just pretending? It's not that they don't know, it's just that they don't want to tell you. Bai Feng and Bai Yu's silence didn't mean that Bai Guang wouldn't either. He thought for a moment and said, the forbidden areas of the City Lord's mansion are very dangerous. Even if you enter, there's a slim chance of survival. A slim chance of survival? Ningyu opened his mouth and said exaggeratedly. Scared? If you're scared, then let me go. I can let bygones be bygones. Bai Guang said when he saw Ningyu's expression. I'm not scared. I just feel that the forbidden areas of the City Lord's mansion are just SOSO. Even a trash like you can barely survive. If I go in, there won't be any problems. Ningyu shrugged. Russell. Ningyu's words caused the surrounding martial artists from the City Lord's mansion to widen their eyes. All of them revealed expressions of disbelief. They looked at Ningyu as if they were looking at a monster. Arrogant. Arrogant. These words weren't enough to describe Ningyu. Even a pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign would barely survive. You, a middle-phase 8th-grade Earth Sovereign, actually dared to say such shameless words. Hey, there's going to be a good show. Of course there's going to be a good show. I heard that Bai Qi is also in the forbidden area. Do you guys think that Bai Qi will cripple Ningyu? Cripple? I don't think so. I don't think so, either. After all, Ningyu was brought in by Fairy Yun Shi and Qi Mo. Even if Bai Qi doesn't want to give them face, he still has to give them face. You're overthinking it. What I mean is that Bai Qi will not cripple Ningyu, but kill Ningyu. Everyone was speechless. However, when they thought about it, they felt relieved. With Bai Qi's character, he might really do such a thing. Furthermore, Bai Qi was about to come out of seclusion. The moment he came out, he would definitely confront Ningyu. After all, Bai Qi had said that he wouldn't allow Lu Wei and the rest to take a step out of the Giant Shield Pavilion. Furthermore, he wanted to take Lu Wei as his concubine. With the relationship between Ningyu and Lu Wei, this was clearly a battle of love. Chapter 1437. A supernatural event. Being ridiculed by Ningyu in front of so many people, Bai Guang gnashed his teeth in anger. However, he was currently heavily injured and had no way of contending against Ningyu. Don't blame me for not reminding you. There are 2 puppets guarding the entrance to the forbidden area of the City Lord's mansion. Taking a deep breath, Bai Guang said, if you want to enter the forbidden area successfully, you have to defeat those 2 puppets. Oh. What's the cultivation of those 2 puppets? Ningyu was slightly stunned and asked. Those 2 puppets are very special. They will change their cultivation according to your cultivation. Bai Guang explained, you're a middle grade 8 human supreme. If you challenge them, those 2 puppets should have the cultivation of a first-grade Earth Supreme. No problem. When the time comes, I'll test out how powerful those 2 puppets are. Ningyu did not continue asking. Instead, he quickened his pace and walked towards the forbidden area of the City Lord's mansion. There was no change in Ningyu's expression, but the surrounding martial artists of the City Lord's mansion revealed gloating expressions. Outsiders might not know, but the martial artists of the City Lord's mansion were all very clear. If one wanted to enter the forbidden area, there was no need to challenge those 2 puppets at all. The reason why those 2 puppets were placed at the entrance of the forbidden area was to warn the martial artists of the City Lord's mansion to not slack off in their cultivation. Every time they left the forbidden area, they would have to spar with the puppets to test their strength. But since ancient times, countless martial artists of the City Lord's mansion who came out of the forbidden area had not been able to defeat the puppets. According to legend, the puppets were obtained by the City Lord of Giant Shield City from an ancient cave by chance. Adjusting one's cultivation according to the martial artist's cultivation was its specialty. Of course, every time the puppets were activated, they would need to consume a lot of yuan crystals. Even if ordinary martial artists wanted to spar or challenge the puppets, they did not have the qualifications or opportunity. Sho. The speed of Ning Yu's group was very fast. Almost 5 minutes later, they arrived at the entrance of the forbidden area of the City Lord's mansion. This is the entrance to the forbidden area. Ning Yu's mouth was slightly agape as he stared at the tightly shut bronze door in front of him. That's right. Bai Guang nodded and said, "Do you see that silvery white crystal beside the bronze door? As long as you break it, the two puppets will appear." All right. Ning Yu didn't refuse. Instead, he moved to the front of the bronze door. Catcher. Exerting strength in his right hand, Ning Yu directly shattered the silver-white crystal. Creak. In the next instant, the bronze door slowly opened. Swoosh. As soon as the stone door opened, two figures rushed out of the bronze door at an extremely fast speed. Looking at the two approaching figures, Ning Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He clenched his fists and punched out. Bang! Bang! Two voices rang out in succession. Ning Yu was sent flying dozens of feet away before he came to a stop. On the other hand, the two puppets in front of him stood still. Second-grade Earth Sovereign Realm? Ning Yu slightly knitted his brows and turned to Bai Guang. Didn't you say that the two puppets were only first-grade Earth Sovereigns? Why are they second-grade Earth Sovereigns now? Sorry, I remembered wrongly. Bai Guang curled his lips. Ning Yu was tricked. What do you mean tricked? He was the one who was arrogant and wanted to break the crystal. That's right. Ning Yu is only an 8th-grade Earth Sovereign. Who does he think he is? You want to fight against two of the strongest puppets? What a fool's dream. Hehe, let's see how Ning Yu gets out of this predicament. Bai Guang's scheme is great. He brought glory to our City Lord's mansion. It's all because of Ning Yu's arrogance. Otherwise, Bai Guang wouldn't have stood a chance. As this was only the entrance to the forbidden area, there were many experts of the City Lord's mansion gathered here. Among these experts, there were Earth Sovereigns and Sovereigns. Most of them were from the City Lord's mansion. They were waiting to see Ning Yu make a fool of himself. Ning Yu was only an 8th-grade Earth Sovereign. It was almost impossible for him to win against two second-grade Earth Sovereigns. I'd like to ask if there's any problem if I break the two puppets. Will I take responsibility? Ning Yu was not angry, but continued to ask. You want to break the two puppets? This time, Bai Guang didn't speak. The one who responded to Ning Yu was a second-grade Earth Sovereign. This second-grade Earth Sovereign was called Bai Pai. He was about 40 years old. What kind of person dares to interrupt? Ning Yu's face turned a little gloomy. He said, "It's better for unrelated people to stay away. Otherwise, don't blame me if you get hurt by accident." You. Bai Pai's face turned ugly. He originally wanted to ridicule Ning Yu, but he didn't expect to be ridiculed by Ning Yu instead. You're courting death. Bai Pai stomped on the ground and rushed out. Bai Pai wanted to regain his face and establish his dominance. He had been hiding in the City Lord's mansion for many years and had long wanted to soar into the sky. As long as he could defeat Ning Yu this time, he would definitely soar into the sky. No one could stop him. As Bai Pai approached him, Ning Yu turned his head and walked toward the puppets. Ignore. Ning Yu directly ignored Bai Pai. Ah! Bai Pai let out a roar and howled. Isn't Ning Yu too arrogant? He actually ignored Bai Pai. Arrogant. He's too arrogant. Don't worry, Bai Pai is very powerful. I saw him fight with a third-grade Earth Sovereign a few days ago and he easily defeated him. I've also seen that battle. Back then, that third-grade Earth Sovereign's aura was powerful, but White Paper only used 3 moves to utterly defeat that third-grade Earth Sovereign, causing him to admit defeat. In my opinion, Ning Yu will be in a miserable state. Not only will he be miserable, even his teeth will be knocked out. Most of the spectators looked down on Ning Yu. But there were exceptions to everything. There were a few high-rank Earth Sovereigns that were more optimistic about Ning Yu. After all, Ning Yu could control Bai Guang and make Bai Yu and Bai Feng speechless. That was sufficient deterrence. Crack. Ah! Right at this moment, a crisp sound, along with a pig's shriek, resounded in this region. The sudden change caused everyone's faces to drastically change. Everyone looked at the cultivator lying on the ground not far away, and they all revealed a horrified expression. What's going on? What happened? They were familiar with the cultivator on the ground. It wasn't the arrogant Ningyu, but Bai Pai. Why did Bai Pai fall on the ground? What's going on? Everyone was shocked and puzzled. Bai Guang and the rest were also shocked and puzzled. Even the person involved, Whitey, had his eyes wide open and a dumbfounded expression on his face. He remembered that he was about to reach Ning Yu's side. Just as his fist was about to hit Ning Yu's body, he was inexplicably sent flying backwards. Supernatural incident. Chapter 1438. A small bet, eh? Looking at White Skin, who was constantly screaming on the ground in the distance, Ning Yu's brows raised, revealing a puzzled expression. I haven't even exerted any strength. Why did you fall? Puff. Originally, White Skin was already very ashamed and furious. Now that it was mocked by Ning Yu in front of so many people, its face turned even paler, abruptly spewing out a large mouthful of dark red blood. You cheated. Crawling up from the ground with difficulty, White Skin wiped the blood at the corner of its mouth and said viciously, Today, I will enforce justice on behalf of heaven. As it spoke, White Skin's feet stomped on the ground, charging towards Ning Yu again. Sigh, what a pity. Actually, I'm a kind person. My original intention was to reconcile with you. Looking at White Skin, who was charging towards him unceasingly, Ning Yu sighed lightly and said, Since you insist on finding trouble with me, I can only exchange pointers with you. Clenching his right hand into a fist, Ning Yu did not hold back in the slightest. A fist brought along a violent Yuan Qi gale, ruthlessly blasting towards White Skin's chest. White Skin's strength at its peak state was indeed very powerful. Even with Ning Yu's strength, he did not have absolute confidence in resisting. However, the current White Skin was already in a heavily injured state. Its strength was less than 30% of its peak state. Dealing with White Skin in this state, Ning Yu naturally would not make any mistakes. Bang! Under everyone's gaze, Ning Yu's fist landed on White Skin's chest with no way to avoid. A crisp sound rang out, only to see White Skin fly out in a straight line like a kite with a broken string. Crash! White Skin flew out this time, like dominoes. Even the surrounding City Lord Manor experts who were watching were knocked down together. All right, let's get back to business. Ning Yu clapped his hands together, and then he paid no further attention to White Skin as he directly arrived before Bai Guang and said solemnly, I'll say it again. Would there be any problems if I break these two puppets apart? Humph. Then you need to have this strength too. Bai Guang said with a cold snort. Don't worry about whether I have the strength or not. Just tell me if there will be any problems, and if there will be people making things difficult for me. Ning Yu waved his hand and said, Ning Yu, how about we make a bet? Seeing that Ning Yu was brimming with confidence in him, Bai Guang's eyes spun as he felt that his chance had come. He sorted out his thoughts and said, As long as you can destroy the two puppets, I can make the decision and guarantee your safety. I will also provide you with the antidote. Let's change the bet. I don't need the antidote anymore, Ning Yu said. You don't need to. Bai Guang was stunned at first, then he immediately changed his words and said, Then what do you want? How about this? If I can destroy the two puppets, then from the moment I destroy the puppets, you have to listen to me completely. As for the time, Ning Yu paused for a moment and said, Let's make it 3 days. What if you can't destroy the puppets? Bai Guang asked. That's simple. If I can't destroy the puppets, then I'll listen to you. The time limit is also 3 days, said Ning Yu. Deal. Bai Guang quickly nodded his head in agreement, fearing that Ning Yu would go back on his words. The reason why Bai Guang was so anxious was that he felt that Ning Yu was too stupid and felt that his chance had come. Whether he could successfully escape or not depended on the two puppet. However, Bai Guang was very confident in the toughness of the two puppets' bodies. Not to mention that Ning Yu was only an 8th grade intermediate Earth Supreme. Even if Ning Yu was an 8th grade intermediate Earth Supreme, he wouldn't be able to destroy the puppets. Not even a 9th grade Earth Sovereign could do anything. That's because he had fought with the 2 puppets in the past. With his cultivation at the 9th grade Earth Sovereign realm, he couldn't even shake the 2 puppets, not to mention destroying them. Please take a few steps back. Ningyu smiled and walked step by step towards the 2 puppets. I'll see what you're capable of, Bai Guang said coldly. Ningyu completely ignored Bai Guang's words. His speed was very, very slow. The 2 puppets were very special. The moment the bronze door opened, they took the initiative to attack. Later on, if Ningyu didn't attack, they wouldn't attack. Therefore, it gave Ningyu a lot of time to think. Guangzhon, how confident are you in destroying these 2 puppets? With a thought, Ningyu started to contact Guangzhon. The reason why white paper suddenly fell was because of Guangzhon. Ningyu asked Guangzhon to see if he could destroy the 2 puppets. If Guangzhon was capable, then he would let him do it. Less than 10%. Ningyu was disappointed. In Ningyu's view, Guangzhon was a 9th grade Earth Sovereign, so he should have 60 to 70% confidence. But who could have imagined that Guangzhon only had less than 10% confidence? So it looked like he could only do it himself. You're walking so slowly, do you really think that you can destroy the puppets? Yeah, this is the City Lord's mansion, no one is allowed to behave atrociously here. If Ningyu can destroy the 2 puppets, I'll eat the fragments of the puppet. Good teeth, but I don't have that ability. I can only eat the fragments of the crystal ball. No one was optimistic about Ningyu. Actually, aside from the City Lord's mansion, even Guangzhon and Lu Wei weren't optimistic about him. The 2 puppets were too powerful. With Ningyu's 8th grade Earth Sovereign cultivation, how could he destroy them? Brute force. That's too unreliable. When he was 3 steps away from the puppets, Ningyu stopped. Turning around, he looked at Bai Guang. Remember your promise, don't disappoint me. Rest assured, I, Bai Guang, am a man of my words. If you don't believe me, I can make a heavenly oath. As he spoke, Bai Guang really made a heavenly oath. Good job. You didn't embarrass our City Lord's mansion. This is what they mean by being courageous. Ningyu, do you dare to make a heavenly oath? Russell. Ningyu shifted his gaze and looked at the last cultivator. You want me to make a heavenly oath? Ningyu knitted his brows. That's right, make a heavenly oath. Being stared at by Ningyu, the last cultivator braced himself and called out. Not bad, you have guts. Ningyu retracted his gaze and raised his right foot, walking towards the puppets. However, Ningyu's arrogant words resounded in this region. I don't need to make a heavenly oath, because I can destroy the 2 puppets soon. Rumble. Ningyu's words caused a huge uproar in this region. Arrogant. I suggest we execute him on the spot as a warning to others. We can't kill him, but we have to let him know the power of the City Lord's mansion. Ningyu's provocative words made the surrounding onlookers go berserk. If Bai Guang was not still in Ningyu's hands, they would have swarmed and attacked long ago. Open your eyes and watch. At this moment, Ningyu's figure disappeared in the blink of an eye and appeared in front of one of the puppets. His right hand turned into a palm and quietly placed it on the back of the puppet. Creak. Chapter 1439. Chapter 1439, Conceding the loss. Haha, Ningyu is doomed. Yeah, he actually wants to disperse the puppets. What a fool's dream. Even if Ningyu doesn't die this time, he will be crippled. That's for sure, the puppet is powerful. A 2nd grade Earth Sovereign realm puppet can confront a 3rd grade Earth Sovereign of the human race. Hehe, let's see if anyone dares to be arrogant in the City Lord's mansion. What? However, before the last cultivator could finish his cold smile, his eyes widened and a look of shock appeared on his face. Crack. Before the bronze door, the fist of the puppet did not land on Ningyu's head, but stopped half a foot away from Ningyu's head. Thereafter, everyone witnessed an unbelievable scene. Starting from the fist, the puppet started to shatter. It started with the fist, followed by the arm, shoulder, and finally the entire body. Rustle. It didn't take long for the 2nd grade Earth Supreme Realm puppet to fall apart. This situation had exceeded everyone's expectations. So when the puppet shattered, everyone stood on the spot with dumbfounded expressions. How did Ningyu do it? One must know that the body of the puppet was extremely tough, and even a 9th grade Earth Sovereign wasn't confident in destroying it. So how did Ningyu do it? Could it be that there's an internal problem because the puppet was frequently challenged? All sorts of doubts rose in everyone's hearts. Without any exception, no one believed in Ningyu. But the truth was placed before them, and they couldn't refute it. There must be an issue with this puppet. Ningyu definitely won't be able to destroy the next puppet. Yeah, Ningyu definitely won't be able to destroy the next puppet. If Ningyu can do it, I will chop off my head. Accident, it's purely an accident. Everyone's exclamations and disbelief made the corner of Ningyu's lips rise. He rubbed his palms and walked to the other puppet. Looking at the puppet, Ningyu did not destroy it immediately. Instead, he wanted to have a duel with it to test his current combat strength. Rumble. In the next moment, Ningyu and the puppeteer were engaged in battle. Judging from this battle alone, Ningyu did not gain much of an advantage. On the contrary, he was at a slight disadvantage. Actually, this was not surprising. Ningyu did not use the red demon sword. In fact, he did not even use all of his Yuan Qi. To be able to fight to a draw with the puppets was already very good. Not bad, I should be able to easily defeat a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. After 5 minutes of battle, Ningyu had a comprehensive understanding of his own combat power. Facing a 3rd grade Earth Sovereign might be a little difficult, and he would have to use all his trump cards. But against a 2nd grade Earth Supreme, it shouldn't be a problem. Alright, we've tried it out. Now, we can smash this puppet into pieces. After having a clear understanding of his own strength, Ningyu quietly took out the demonic lotus flame and tried to find an opportunity to inject it into the puppet's body. It was the demonic lotus flame that he was able to destroy the puppet. The demonic lotus flame was a terrifying flame that was ranked 5th on the exotic flames list. Using the demonic lotus flame would ensure that nothing went wrong, ha ha ha. However, before Ningyu could inject the demonic lotus flame into the puppet, the crowd in the distance burst into laughter. Ningyu is at his wit's end. Like I said, Ningyu being able to destroy a puppet just now was completely a stroke of luck. Don't say that. Otherwise, you'll be in trouble if Ningyu gets angry. He, I'm not afraid of him because he can't destroy the 2nd puppet. That means he has to listen to Bai Guang's orders. Will Bai Guang let him attack me? That's obviously impossible. The martial artists of the City Lord's mansion were very arrogant. Whenever they had the chance, they would mock and ridicule Ningyu. If they were not afraid of Ningyu's powerful strength and White Skin's strange defeat just now, they would even rush out together and exchange pointers with Ningyu. Sigh, I'm sorry. Ningyu sighed and showed a contemptuous look to the surrounding martial artists. Then, he forcefully injected a trace of demonic lotus flame into the 2nd puppet. Crack. Without a doubt, when the demonic lotus flame entered the 2nd puppet, the 2nd puppet shattered with a loud bang. The shattering of this puppet was like a heavy hammer knocking on everyone's heart, causing their hearts to contract. What the hell was going on? What was going on in this world? Could it be that Ningyu was really that powerful? That was a puppet, the toughest puppet in the City Lord's mansion, the guardian of the Forbidden Land. Yet, it was easily destroyed by him. The surrounding City Lord's mansion's powerhouses were silent. Bai Guang was silent. Lu Wei, they all were similarly silent. Sorry, you can fulfill your promise now. Scattering the 2nd puppet, Ningyu went straight in front of Bai Guang and said, listen to my orders for 3 days. I, Bai Guang, am a man of my word. Although unwilling, Bai Guang still braced himself and said. The current Bai Guang was very regretful, regretting that he swore a heavenly Tao oath. If he did not swear a heavenly Tao oath, he could still quibble and act shamelessly. After swearing a heavenly Tao oath, he even lost the chance to act shamelessly. Defying a heavenly Tao oath. He did not have this guts yet. Go, call Bai Qi out for me. Ningyu patted Bai Guang's shoulder and said, I'm an outsider after all. It's not convenient for me to enter the Forbidden Land. So it's better for you to go call Bai Qi out. This isn't appropriate, right? Since you're already here, why not go in and have a seat? Bai Guang said. I won't go in. Find 2 people to carry you. I want to see Bai Qi appear in front of me in 10 minutes. Ning Yu waved his hand and said, if I don't see Bai Qi in 10 minutes, I'm sorry, but you might have to suffer a little. Ning Yu was not an idiot. He had scattered the 2 puppets. If he still dared to enter the Forbidden Land at this time, he would definitely be surrounded and attacked by many experts. As long as he was outside the Forbidden Land, the experts of the City Lord's mansion would be afraid of Fairy Yun Shi and Dao Master Shen Mo and would not dare to do anything to him. At the very least, experts above Grade 9 Earth Supreme would not easily make a move. Of course, Bai He and the other 2 were different. Otherwise, they would not have been captured and devoured by the Dark Emperor. Let's go. Helpless, Bai Guang could only call for 2 cultivators to carry him and walk towards the Forbidden Land. Both of Bai Guang's legs were broken. Before he received treatment, he could only be carried by others. Swish. However, just as Bai Guang arrived in front of the bronze door, before his right foot could enter the Forbidden Land, a figure rushed out from inside. Swish. The speed of this figure was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, he left the Forbidden Land and charged towards Ning Yu. This is Chapter 1440. Exit. Bai Qi has made his move. Yeah, Bai Qi is the leader of the Giant Shield City's younger generation. If he makes a move, Ning Yu will definitely be defeated. Defeated? Aren't you overestimating Ning Yu too much? In my opinion, Ning Yu will be killed. That's impossible. Firstly, Ning Yu isn't someone to be trifled with. He can even defeat Bai Pai, who are both second-grade Earth Sovereigns, and, hold on. What kind of ancient history is that? Look at Bai Qi. Hiss. As the last cultivator finished speaking, everyone's gazes shifted towards Bai Qi. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw what it was. Third-grade Earth Sovereign. Bai Qi wasn't a second-grade Earth Sovereign, but a genuine third-grade Earth Sovereign. After being in seclusion for such a long time, Bai Qi had finally advanced to third-grade Earth Sovereign. Was Ning Yu strong? Very strong. Was Bai Qi strong? Very, very strong. If Bai Qi was only a second-grade Earth Sovereign, some people might be optimistic about Ning Yu. But now that Bai Qi had reached the third-grade Earth Sovereign realm, it could be said that everyone in this region was optimistic about Bai Qi. Looking at the approaching white silhouette, Ning Yu's face turned grave for the first time. He gathered all the primordial qi in his sea of consciousness into his fist and threw a backhand punch. His fist collided with the white figure's unavoidable fist. Boom. When the 2 fists clashed, both Ning Yu and Bai Qi took a few steps back. Bai Qi took 3 steps back, while Ning Yu also took 3 steps back. On the surface, the 2 seemed to be evenly matched. But Bai Qi's next words made everyone think even more highly of him. Not bad. You can actually block 30% of my strength. Bai Qi shrugged. You're the Ning Yu that the Palace Master spoke of? There's nothing special about you. 30% of your strength. I was wrong. I admit that I was very wrong. I was wrong too. I regret it. Just now, I looked down on Bai Qi and stood on Ning Yu's side. But now, I'm ashamed of my stupidity. Bai Qi is too strong. Using only 30% of his strength, he was able to fight evenly with Ning Yu. It's obvious that once he uses his full strength, Ning Yu will be easily killed. Bai Qi's status in the City Lord's mansion was very high. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been given the title of Young City Lord. Now that Bai Qi had displayed his terrifying strength, the surrounding City Lord's mansion cultivators naturally flattered him without a trace. Initial third-grade Earth Sovereign. While Bai Qi was sizing up Ning Yu was also sizing up Bai Qi. Ning Yu's expression was a little solemn. Bai Qi was also a peerless genius. If Bai Qi was an ordinary third-grade Earth Sovereign, then Ning Yu wouldn't be afraid. It was so much so that he could even defeat Bai Qi if he brought out all his trump cards. But Bai Qi was different. Bai Qi was a peerless genius. In other words, Bai Qi was only an initial 3rd grade Earth Sovereign on the surface, but he could defeat a 4th grade Earth Sovereign. With Ningyu's current strength, there was no way he could compete with Bai Qi. Hand over the antidote to the white bone demonic powder, and I can let you go. Although he was a little shocked in his heart, Ningyu remained calm on the surface. He had Bai Feng and Bai Yu as hostages, and Quang Zhon as his trump card. Even if Bai Qi's cultivation was a level higher, he wouldn't be afraid. What's the white bone demonic powder? Why haven't I heard of it before? Bai Qi was feigning ignorance. He definitely wouldn't admit it. The white bone demonic powder was a vicious powder. If Fairy Yun Shi and Master Jiao Mo found out about it, even his father would be in a difficult position. Never heard of it. Ningyu slightly knitted his brows. It's fine if you haven't heard of it. I can explain it to you. There's no need. I don't want to know what the white bone demonic powder is. I just want to ask you, why are you here? Bai Qi waved his hand and said coldly, I'm in seclusion. Because you caused trouble here, I failed my seclusion. You'll have to bear this debt. After thinking for a moment, Bai Qi continued, as long as you give me Lu Wei, I promise I won't cause trouble for you from now on. Ha ha ha, Lu Wei was Bai Qi's to begin with. She should be his concubine. What concubine? Bai Qi isn't married. Marrying him is Lu Wei's good fortune. Lu Xuan is not that ugly. He is just SOSO. Bai Qi can accept him. Hearing Bai Qi's words, the crowd jeered. Everyone knew that Bai Qi had said before entering the forbidden grounds that he wanted to marry Lu Wei. Now that Bai Qi said it in front of Ningyu, it was obvious that he was going to fight against Ningyu. Since they were going to fight sooner or later, he might as well pour oil on the fire and make it happen faster. Lu Wei's face was extremely ugly. She clenched her fists and trembled with anger. Before Ningyu came, they knew that they weren't Bai Qi's match, so they chose to tolerate him. But now, Ningyu was here, and he even brought Quang Zhon, a 9th grade Earth Supreme expert. Under such circumstances, not only did Bai Qi not repent, he even took a yard after taking an inch. This was intolerable. Don't be angry. You don't look pretty when you're angry. The corner of Bai Qi's lips curled up as he said to Lu Ni, don't follow Ningyu. He's just an 8th grade middle human supreme realm cultivator. I can defeat a cultivator like him with a flip of my hand. Are you sure you can defeat me with a flip of your hand? Ningyu didn't seem to be angry at Bai Qi's mockery. Instead, he twisted his neck and said. Anyone who was familiar with Ningyu knew that once Ningyu twisted his neck, it meant that he was furious. Although this was the city lord's mansion, he couldn't let Bai Qi have it easy with his arrogance. Why? You want to spar with me? Bai Qi said coldly, fists and legs have no eyes. I'm afraid that I might accidentally injure you. If I accidentally kill you, it'll be a huge problem. After all, you have the palace master backing you up. I'm so scared. As he spoke, Bai Qi patted his chest with his right hand, pretending to be terrified. Don't try to provoke me. It's useless against me. Ningyu's tone was calm as he continued, I don't want to cause trouble, nor am I afraid of trouble. As he spoke, Ningyu paused for a brief moment before he coldly said, Speak. How do you want to die? Fart. Bai Qi was briefly stunned by Ningyu's words before he burst into laughter. How do I want to die? Have you lost your mind? A mere 8th grade Earth Supreme dares to speak to me in such a manner? If it was someone else, I would have sliced you into pieces by now. I'm sorry, but I won't die after you die. Curling his lips, Bai Qi said, after saying so much, do you want to see who's the real deal? Chapter 1441. Chapter 1441. A duel. Bai Qi's unbridled laughter caused the temperature of the entire area to drop by several degrees. Although he said he wouldn't force Lu Wei to do anything, he had already considered Lu Wei to be his exclusive property. Just because of what you said, even if a human helps you today, I will break your limbs and pull out your tendons. Ningyu was friendly to his friends. But to his enemies, he was cruel. Bai Qi was arrogant, extremely arrogant. To deal with someone like Bai Qi, Ningyu decided to kill him with a single strike without holding back. Whoosh! In the next instant, Ningyu's figure flashed and he charged out in the blink of an eye. As he moved forward, Ningyu took out the red demon sword and slashed out a huge sword ray. Whoosh! The sword ray tore through the air and appeared in front of Bai Qi. Child's play. Although the sword ray was powerful, Bai Qi didn't care about it at all. He grabbed at the air with his right hand and pushed it out. A ball of yuan qi collided with the sword ray in front of him. The ball of yuan qi light collided with the sword light. Soon, both of them dissipated from the world. No way. I've already suppressed my cultivation to the 8th grade intermediate human supreme realm. Is this all you've got? After blocking Ningyu's sword ray, Bai Qi said exaggeratedly, I'll let you have 3 more moves. I won't retaliate during these 3 moves. After that, I'll take the initiative to attack. As you wish. Ningyu didn't argue with Bai Qi. He slashed out several sword rays. The second move was a dozen sword rays that shot toward Bai Qi at the same time. Whoosh! Unhurriedly, Bai Qi grabbed a few balls of yuan qi light from the void, and they collided with the dozens of sword lights. Without a doubt, the sword rays disappeared once again, destroyed by the yuan qi balls. The second move. Bai Qi shrugged. Hurry up with the third move. I can't wait to attack, ha ha ha. Ningyu's expression did not change. Through these 2 moves, he had already tested the density of Bai Qi's yuan qi. In terms of vitality, he was a level weaker than Bai Qi. Soul attack. For the third move, Ningyu decided to use a soul attack. The strength of a soul force at the pinnacle of the 8th rank wrapped around the red demon sword. Then, Ningyu slashed out a sword aura that was as thick as his waist. Kai Kai. The sword ray tore through the air and slashed at Bai Qi's head at a terrifying speed. Bai Qi was finally moved by this move. However, he was merely moved. Although his cultivation was only at the 3rd grade Earth Sovereign realm, his soul energy had reached the 9th grade. Soul attack. With a smirk, Bai Qi said coldly, I'll show you how strong my soul force is. Bai Qi opened his mouth and a ball of soul power flew out, colliding with Ningyu's sword ray. This clash was different from the previous 2. Ningyu's sword ray disappeared, but Bai Qi's soul power was still there. Furthermore, Bai Qi's soul power tore through the air and started to attack. Ningyu, after 3 moves, it's my turn to attack. Bai Qi's speed was extremely fast. Together with his soul power, he attacked Ningyu. Hihi, Bai Qi is a 3rd grade Earth Sovereign. This time, Ningyu is going to suffer. Ningyu is doomed. It's just a matter of time. Doomed sooner or later. Isn't it just a matter of time? You're too careless. You have to change. Don't be stubborn. Look, Ningyu and Bai Qi are facing off. The surrounding cultivators were all optimistic about Bai Qi. Bai Qi's punch, in particular, made them stand firmly behind Bai Qi. Damn it. Seeing that Ningyu was about to collide with Bai Qi, Lu Wei's expression changed drastically. She clenched her teeth and dashed out with the intention of helping. Pa. However, just as Lu Wei took a few steps, Zhonbie grabbed her arm and said in a deep voice, Trust Ningyu. A mere 3rd grade Earth Sovereign can't pose a threat to him. Zhonbie knew how powerful Ningyu was. When he was a 5th grade Earth Sovereign, he could trap a 1st grade Earth Sovereign. Now that he had advanced to 8th grade Earth Sovereign, it shouldn't be a problem for him to fight a 3rd grade Earth Sovereign. But, Lu Wei didn't know Ningyu's true strength, nor did she know Ningyu's trump card, so she was very worried. There are no buts. Think about it, Ningyu can even block a Sky Supreme Expert's move, let alone Bai Qi. Zhonbie persuaded, you don't know what happened during this period of time, just trust me. Fine, Lu Wei looked at Ningyu, who was about to collide with Bai Qi, and said with gritted teeth. Bang! In the next moment, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, Ningyu and Bai Qi finally collided. Ningyu threw 2 punches, and Bai Qi threw 1. Ningyu's first punch was aimed at Bai Qi's soul power, and the second punch was aimed at Bai Qi's fist. Kai! Bang! 2 sounds rang out in succession. Ningyu and Bai Qi were sent flying at the same time. Evenly matched. Seeing the distance between Ningyu and Bai Qi, the crowd exclaimed. Because Ningyu and Bai Qi both took 10 steps back. Clap, clap, clap. Bai Qi clapped his hands and said, "As I expected, you have the war god's physique." "What? Ningyu has the war god's physique? What's the war god's physique? You're too outdated. You don't even know about the war god's physique. It's a special physique, but why am I telling you this? Watch the fight." Hearing that Ningyu had the war god's physique, the crowd exclaimed again. The war god's physique was terrifying, almost invincible among those of the same level. Only a few physiques could match it. Ningyu's war god's physique was indeed out of everyone's expectation. At this moment, some even rebelled and began to worry for Bai Qi. But what can the war god's physique do? With an indifferent expression, Bai Qi coldly said, "The battle god's physique isn't invincible. If you're a third-grade Earth Sovereign like me, I might be fearful. But you're only a middle-phase 8th-grade Earth Sovereign, so killing you is as easy as crushing an ant." Boom. As he spoke, Bai Qi unleashed his aura and soared into the sky. Third-grade Earth Supreme. Bai Qi was a genuine third-grade Earth Supreme. His aura was vigorous and steady. Obviously, he had been in the third-grade Earth Supreme realm for a long time. "I seem to have heard someone say that he wants to fight me at the same level." Ningyu frowned and said indifferently. "Ha ha ha." Bai Qi said unscrupulously, "Who wants to fight you at the same level? Is there something wrong with your head? Oh, so you don't want to fight me at the same level?" Ningyu nodded and said, "If that's the case, I'm more relieved." Bai Qi curled his lips and was about to mock Ningyu, but his mouth was wide open and his face was filled with shock. "Relieved? What are you worried about? You can still advance to third-grade Earth Supreme." Chapter 1442. Help me. What's going on? Isn't Ningyu an 8th-grade mid-human sovereign? How did his aura reach the third-grade Earth Supreme realm? You're asking me? Who the hell am I supposed to ask? He must have swallowed some elixir or used some secret technique. It's a trick. Ningyu used demonic arts to trick us. Everyone, let's attack together. We can't let Ningyu fight Bai Qi with this demonic art. It's unfair to Bai Qi. Yeah, let's attack together and execute Ningyu on the spot. Sensing the terrifying aura emanating from Ningyu's body, the surrounding cultivators revealed horrified expressions as they discussed animatedly. It was unheard of for an 8th-grade mid-human sovereign to emit the aura of a third-grade Earth Supreme realm. "You've really surprised me." After a brief moment of shock, Bai Qi curled his lips and said, "However, even if you emit the aura of a third-grade Earth Supreme realm, you're still no match for me. It'll be effortless for me to kill you. Using a secret technique to raise your aura to the third-grade Earth Supreme realm isn't stable. I can easily defeat you in a few moves." Crack. Ningyu twisted his neck and said, "You're afraid. Even your body is trembling." Bai Qi was infuriated and shouted, "Nonsense. If you cripple your limbs now, kneel on the ground and kowtow to me a few times, I can spare your life. Since that's the case, let's fight." Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's figure flashed and appeared beside Bai Qi in the blink of an eye. Clenching his fists, he sent a terrifying Yuan Qi gale towards Bai Qi's chest. Child's play. Bai Qi obviously didn't take this move seriously. He blasted out 2 punches in a row and easily repelled Ningyu. "Is that all you've got?" After one move, Bai Qi said coldly, "I'll show you what true strength is." As he spoke, Bai Qi quickly formed a seal. Giant shield palm. In the next instant, Bai Qi pushed out his right hand. As Bai Qi growled, a huge palm print appeared in midair. The palm was huge and blood-red in color. Terrifying 9th-level soul power pulsated on it. Giant shield palm? Facing the huge blood-red palm print that was rushing towards him, Ningyu did something that shocked everyone. He did not attack the palm print. Instead, he slowly closed his eyes. Ha ha ha. Ningyu is scared silly. Bai Qi, hurry up and cripple his limbs. This is the City Lord's mansion. How could that trash, Ningyu, do anything here? Kill him. We must kill him today. Everyone cried out in ecstasy. They clearly knew how terrifying the power of Bai Qi's palm was. As a third-grade Earth Sovereign, The giant shield palm that Bai Qi executed could even confront an ordinary 4th-grade Earth Sovereign. Ning Yu had only used a secret technique to raise his aura to that of a 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign. How could he possibly be a match for Bai Qi? It was still unknown whether Bai Qi could block the palm print, let alone counterattack. None of the cultivators in the area believed that Ning Yu could withstand the palm print and launch a counterattack. Ning Yu did not care what the crowd was thinking, nor did he have the time to care. He had already immersed his consciousness into the interspatial ring and started to communicate with the sapling. I'll give you control of your body. How confident are you in defeating Bai Qi? As soon as Bai Qi appeared, Ning Yu had already thought of a way out. He was definitely no match for Bai Qi in a head-on fight. After all, there was a huge gap between their cultivation levels. However, just because he was no match for Bai Qi didn't mean that the sapling was no match for Bai Qi. During this period of time, the sapling had used a secret technique to forcefully devour the branch of the world tree that it obtained from 100 Flowers, Heavenly Sovereign in the Void Realm. In addition to the terrifying energy contained in by his body, the sapling's cultivation had already stabilized at the 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Furthermore, it was at the pinnacle 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign Realm. With the pinnacle 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign Realm cultivation, it naturally wouldn't be difficult for the sapling to deal with Bai Qi. Don't worry. With Bai He supporting me, that Bai Qi can only last 3 moves at most. The sapling focused its attention on Bai He. Bai He was a 9th-grade Earth Sovereign. The energy contained in his body was extremely terrifying. As he devoured the energy to replenish himself, he turned into an afterimage and started to control Ning Yu's body. I'm going to kill him. The sapling's face drastically changed the moment it took control of Ning Yu's body. He saw that the huge palm had already arrived in front of him and was only half a foot away from his head. Shatter. The sapling gently tapped with its right hand. In an instant, the huge palm print stopped and floated in the air. Crack. A crisp sound resounded. Without a doubt, the blood-red palm print had broken into several pieces. This is impossible. How is this possible? The giant shield palm is Bai Qi's famous technique. Who is Ning Yu to be able to block Bai Qi's giant shield palm? I feel that Ning Yu is a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereign. He must be pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Quick, contact the city lord and get him here. Rustle. Ning Yu's brilliant defense caused the surrounding cultivators to retreat. Look. What's going on? Ning Yu is starting to counterattack. What happened next caused the surrounding martial artists to be even more shocked. Not only did Ning Yu block Bai Qi's attack, he even wanted to launch an attack to deal a fatal blow to Bai Qi. Block it. Bai Qi maintained a calm expression and did not panic. He was a 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign with plenty of trump cards. Even if he faced a 4th-grade Earth Sovereign, he still had the chance to confront and even kill the latter. What? In the next moment, Bai Qi was completely dumbfounded. The 2nd and 3rd palm prints shattered at the same time. Ning Yu had appeared in front of him without him knowing. Die. Bai Qi's figure quickly moved and executed his unique movement technique, the giant shield movement technique. Outside the bronze door, Bai Qi moved left and right at lightning speed. Ning Yu stood on the spot with his eyes slightly opened, as if he was looking for Bai Qi's movement trajectory. Even if you're a real 3rd-grade Earth Sovereign, you won't be able to find my movement trajectory. Bai Qi snorted arrogantly. In fact, Bai Qi had the right to be arrogant. His attainments in movement techniques were even better than many advanced Earth Sovereigns. Using his movement technique to disrupt Ning Yu's vision was also a good idea. Are you done? My head is spinning. With an indifferent expression, Ning Yu suddenly stretched out his right hand. Bai Qi, who was moving at lightning speed, was forcefully pulled down by Ning Yu. Ning Yu suddenly exerted force on Bai Qi's arm. Bang! Like a kite with its string cut, Bai Qi was sent flying and slammed into a cultivator of the City Lord's mansion. PFFFT. Chapter 1443. Chapter 1443. Chapter 1443 White Shield Boom. Seeing Bai Qi spit out blood, the surrounding cultivators were all stunned on the spot, their faces full of confusion. Bai Qi lost. Bai Qi was a Grade 3 Earth Supreme, the most powerful genius of the Giant Shield City's younger generation. How could he lose? Damn it. Standing up with difficulty, Bai Qi wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said coldly, Ningyu, I admit that you're strong, but you're still lacking if you want to kill me. I'll give you a chance now. Hurry up and leave, and I can let bygones be bygones. Bai Qi was very smart. He knew that he was no match for Ningyu, so he spoke righteously, wanting Ningyu to back off. Bai Qi can still fight. Of course he can. Bai Qi is the most powerful genius among the younger generation of Giant Shield City. I don't think he used his full strength just now. No wonder Ningyu was able to gain the upper hand. So Bai Qi wasn't using his full strength. Bai Qi, why are you wasting your breath on Ningyu? Hurry up and defeat him. Hearing the words of the surrounding cultivators, Bai Qi's face darkened. He originally wanted to find a way out of this embarrassing situation, but the surrounding martial artists jeered at him, making him feel very embarrassed. If he fought, he wouldn't be a match for Ningyu. If he didn't fight, he would lose face. For a moment, Bai Qi was in a dilemma. I've said that I'll break your limbs, so I'll definitely keep my promise. Ningyu didn't care about what the martial artists around him were saying. He stomped his feet on the ground and his body shot out. Bai Qi had bullied Lu Wei and the others when he was not here. He must take revenge. What do you want? Ah. Seeing the approaching Ningyu, Bai Qi's expression changed greatly as he hurriedly called out. However, as soon as his voice rang out, he once again let out a blood-curdling shriek that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. Catcher. Ningyu's fist landed on Bai Qi's right arm and broke it. The first one. After breaking Bai Qi's right arm, Ningyu did not stop there. He immediately followed up with a second punch. Ningyu's target this time was Bai Qi's left arm. Did the left and right hands have to be symmetrical? Otherwise, how ugly would it look? Die. However, before Ningyu's fist could land on Bai Qi's left arm, something strange happened. The void above Ningyu suddenly broke. A huge palm appeared out of thin air and grabbed at Ningyu's head. Obviously, this big hand didn't want to give Ningyu a chance to live, so it immediately used a killing move. You go first. At the critical moment, Kwang Zhon appeared beside Ningyu and pushed Ningyu several feet away. Then, Berserker's right hand suddenly enlarged and collided with the palm that appeared in the void. Rumble. The two palms collided, and the void cracked. Poochie. Kwang Zhon spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his face became extremely pale. Buzz. Then, a middle-aged man walked out of thin air and appeared beside Bai Qi in the blink of an eye. Crack. The middle-aged man pinched Bai Qi's arm and exerted a little force. Along with a cracking sound, Bai Qi's arm was easily reattached. You go back first. The middle-aged man first reprimanded Bai Qi, then turned to Ningyu and said, This is the City Lord's mansion. How dare you behave so atrociously here? Are you tired of living? You're the City Lord of Giant Shield City? Ningyu did not directly answer the middle-aged man's question. Instead, he said in a deep voice, Are you trying to interfere in our spa? Impudent. A mere 8th grade intermediate human supreme dares to speak to me in this manner. With a cold snort, the middle-aged man stretched out his right hand and quickly grabbed at Ningyu. Fart. Fart. Everywhere the middle-aged man's palm passed through, the space cracked. It was extremely terrifying. Bai Qi, what are you trying to do? Just as the middle-aged man's palm was about to land on Ningyu's body, another cultivator appeared from the other side of the void. When this cultivator appeared, he similarly stretched out his right hand and clashed head-on with the middle-aged man's palm. After a single move, both sides were evenly matched. Dao Master Qi Mo, this brat injured my son and is lawless. Today, I'll give him a taste of suffering. Bai Qi Mo said indifferently, as if he did not place Dao Master Qi Mo in his eyes. Given Dao Master Qi Mo's current state, if Bai Qi Mo went all out, he could still defeat him. In other words, ever since the battle outside the city, Dao Master Qi Mo had become the second strongest expert in Giant Shield City. You dare to touch someone that the Palace Lord has found? Dao Master Qi Mo said coldly. What do you mean I'm not touching? I'm just trying to restrain him lest he disobeys me. Bai Chi Mo curled his lips and made his move once again, this time towards Ningyu. With a great enemy before us, don't blame me for being impolite if anyone dares to cause internal strife. Just as Bai Chi Mo's hand flew halfway, he suddenly retracted it. That's because a cold voice resounded in this region. Bring Ningyu over. Everyone else, disperse. Rustle. The surrounding experts of the City Lord's mansion dispersed in an uproar. They knew who the speaker was, the strongest expert of Giant Shield City, the owner of the 100 Flowers fan, Fairy Yun Shi. Even their city lord, Bai Chi Mo, couldn't last more than a few moves in Fairy Yun Shi's hands. Now that Fairy Yun Shi had spoken, they naturally did not dare to delay. Let's go. Dao Master Chi Mo grabbed onto Ningyu and tore through space, disappearing in the blink of an eye. Let's wait and see. A cold smile rose on the corner of Bai Chi's lips as he grabbed onto Bai Chi and chased after them. Clean up this place. Although they had left, Bai Chi Mo still transmitted his voice to the experts of the City Lord's mansion. What should we do now? After Ningyu's group left, Lu Wei and the rest shifted their gazes towards Quang Zhon. Quang Zhon was a 9th-grade Earth Sovereign with extremely powerful strength. Even if he blocked a move from Bai Chi Mo, he didn't suffer any heavy injuries. Let's return to the Giant Shield Pavilion first. Before Ningyu left, he had instructed Quang Zhon to ensure the safety of Lu Wei and the rest. The reason why Ningyu gave such an important task to Quang Zhon was because aside from Fairy Yun Shi, Dao Master Chi Mo, and Bai Chi Mo, Quang Zhon was the strongest in Giant Shield City. Quang Zhon was qualified for this task. All right. Lu Wei and the rest wanted to look for Ningyu, but they knew that with their current strength, they wouldn't be of much help. If they obediently stayed in the Giant Shield Pavilion, it would be the greatest support for Ningyu. At the same time, Dao Master Chi Mo brought Ningyu to the left and right of the City Lord's mansion, passing through several terrifying restrictions, before finally stopping in an empty region. This region was as empty as the wilderness, with nothing in it. Rustle. Rustle. Not long after, Bai Chi and Bai Chi descended. Whoosh. Shortly after, Fairy Yun Shi appeared as well. Let's go in. Fairy Yun Shi did not speak any further. She stretched her right hand out and tore a huge crack in the space before her and walked in first. With Bai Chi in tow, Bai Shield swaggered into the gap. This place is very special. Seeing Ningyu's doubtful gaze, Dao Master Chi Mo explained, refining pills here can yield twice the result with half the effort. I know. Chapter 1444. Chapter 1444, Refining Pellets. After entering the spatial crack, Ningyu was dumbfounded. This place was different from what he had imagined. There were only 2 people in the spatial crack. He knew one of them. It was Xielan, the palace master of the Centauria Palace. As for the second person, Ningyu had never seen him before. But with Ningyu's keen senses, he could tell that the second cultivator was an initial 9th-grade Earth Sovereign with a terrifying pinnacle 9th-grade soul force. Liquefaction. There were 3 stages for a pinnacle 9th-grade alchemist's soul force. Liquefaction into pellets, and breaking through the pellet to become an emperor. The soul force of this initial 9th-grade Earth Sovereign had already reached the level of liquefaction and was infinitely close to turning into a pellet. Once his soul force broke through to the pellet stage, he would be able to reign supreme in the pellet formation continent. Only a few alchemists could surpass him. His Ningyu. When the 9th-grade Earth Sovereign saw Ningyu, he briefly examined Ningyu and said, "Pinnacle 8th-grade Earth Sovereign Realm Spiritual Force, are you guys sure that he can refine the soul-luring pellet? You should know that we have prepared 2 sets of ingredients for the soul-luring pill. I was only half a step away from successfully refining the first set. If I were to refine the second set of ingredients, I would have an 80% success rate. I know what I'm doing." Hearing the 9th-grade Earth Sovereign's words, the palace master knitted her brows. Let Ningyu refine the second set of materials for the soul-luring pellet. All right, I'll see what Ningyu is capable of. The 9th-grade Earth Sovereign's face was unsightly as he took a few steps back and stood before Bai Shield. Circulating his soul force, the ninth-grade Earth Sovereign transmitted his voice to By Shield. What's going on? Didn't you tell me to refine both sets of materials? I'm about to succeed in the first set. As long as I have enough time, I'll definitely be able to refine the second set. The situation has changed. Let's wait and see for now. White Shield's expression was very calm as he sent a mental message. What's there to look at? If we want to control the Palace Master, we can only tamper with the soul-luring pellet. But now, the second soul-luring pellet has been refined by that brat. What are we going to do? The ninth-grade initial phase Earth Sovereign was furious. Don't worry, I've already grasped the core formation I of Giant Shield City's peerless killing formation. When the experts of 100 Flowers City come to attack, I'll secretly open a gap in the peerless killing formation, White Shield said gloomily. Right now, Fairy Yunshi is here, so it's not convenient for us to attack. This is really troublesome. In my opinion, we should just activate the enhanced version of Whitebone Demonic Powder. Fairy Yunshi, Reverend Shenmo, all of them will be under our control. The ninth-grade Earth Sovereign impatiently said, you have to listen to me this time. If that Ningyu manages to refine the soul-luring pellet, I will immediately use the strengthened Whitebone Demonic Powder. You guys have to take the antidote first. Sure. After a brief pondering, White Shield nodded his head and agreed with the ninth-grade Earth Sovereign's decision. Ningyu, I never thought that you would be a middle-phase 8th-grade Earth Sovereign after we parted in the horizontal canyon. The Palace Master smiled towards Ningyu. I've already found the ingredients for the soul-luring pellet, so you can help me refine it now, right? You can't go back on your words. I'll naturally keep my words. But before I refine the soul-luring pellet, I have something to ask you. Ningyu shrugged. What is it? The Palace Master asked in puzzlement. Do you know what happened to Lu Wei and the rest in the City Lord's mansion? Ningyu stared at the Palace Master's eyes and spoke in a low voice. Hearing Ningyu's words, the Palace Master's gaze flickered, but she quickly concealed it. What happened to Lu Wei and the rest? This is the Giant Shield City. Did they encounter anything bad? The Palace Master's expression was exaggerated as she looked at By Shield. I've instructed you to take good care of Lu Wei and the rest. Did you mistreat them? How is that possible? By Shield patted his chest and guaranteed, I treated them with the highest standard, and I definitely didn't let them suffer any grievances. All right, I can rest assured with City Lord by handling it. The Palace Master nodded her head and continued, Ningyu, tell me if there's anything. As long as someone dares to bully Lu Wei and the rest, I will definitely stand up for them. It's fine, I'm just casually asking. The conversation between By Shield and the Palace Master made Ningyu fall into deep thought. Right now, Grandmaster Xingyun had yet to recover to his peak, and the silhouette in the 10th level of the Ascension Pagoda had yet to control the 3 heavenly sovereigns. With Ningyu's current strength, he could only hide in the Ascension Pagoda if he encountered danger. Ningyu wasn't worried about his own safety, but Lu Wei and the rest weren't as lucky. Grandmaster Xingyun, how long will it take for you to recover to your peak? Ningyu immediately contacted Grandmaster Xingyun. 3 hours at most. Grandmaster Xingyun replied. 3 hours, huh? Just 3 more hours, Ningyu murmured. If Grandmaster Xingyun recovered to his peak, he could definitely contend with ordinary heavenly sovereigns with the Ascension Pagoda. As for now, Ningyu didn't want to fall out with them for the time being. Wasn't it just refining the soul-luring pellet? He could drag it out for 3 to 4 hours, anyway. Palace Master Xingyun, I can refine the soul-luring pellet, but I need yuan crystals, a large amount of Emperor-grade yuan crystals. The crystals in Ningyu's possession had already been almost exhausted. Since he was working for the Palace Master Xingyun, asking for some yuan crystals wasn't a big deal. City Lord Bai, give Ningyu some Emperor-grade yuan crystals, said the Palace Master Xingyun. Swish. Bai Dun reluctantly pulled out a storage pouch from his robes and tossed it to Ningyu. Pa. Ningyu caught the interspatial pouch and probed it with his perception before curling his lips. The City Lord of Giant Shield City only has a few Emperor-grade yuan crystals. Fut. Ningyu's words nearly made Bai Shield spit out a mouthful of blood. There were a total of 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals in the interspatial pouch. He didn't need to explain how precious they were. He was a 9th-grade Earth sovereign right now and cultivated with Emperor-grade yuan crystals. Now that he had taken out 100,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals, Ningyu actually thought it was too little. Forget it, 100,000 it is. Ningyu took out an Emperor-grade origin crystal from his storage pouch and threw it into his mouth. Crack. He exerted a little force and the Emperor-grade yuan crystal completely shattered. Terrifying yuan qi surged into Ningyu's sea of consciousness. Come back. Ningyu's face turned cold. He directly activated the spirit transformation technique and controlled the yuan qi to flow into his interspatial ring. Oh my god, finally, there are Emperor-grade yuan crystals. In the interspatial ring, the sapling and the Dark Emperor were about to cry. After such a long time, they hadn't even seen an ordinary royal-grade yuan crystal, let alone an Emperor-grade yuan crystal. Now that there were Emperor-grade yuan crystals, they were naturally excited. Ningyu, devour 10,000 Emperor-grade yuan crystals first. We need the yuan qi inside them. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories,